the government will not be able to come up with even a funding extension to maintain funding levels as they are right now until they can reach a new deal. Obviously, this could have a significant impact on many federal programs. Most notably, I should mention, this time around, federal workers, whether or not they will be able to come to work tomorrow. All of this is hanging in the balance right now. Our Jason Calvi, who we can hopefully check in with at some point here in the next hour, he is working on, how this would impact communities here in Southeast Wisconsin. We have a really neat story coming in from Brett Lemoyne as well that I want to talk about. Brett is in Mukwonago. He's telling the story of the Mukwonago village clerk who has a mechanical heart. So we're going to hear about this really unique kind of health story here and how all of that came to be. We're also going to hopefully check in with a live camera that we have at the Milwaukee Public Schools superintendent speaking today at the Rotary Club. Dr. Brenda Cassellius is marking 6 months in her role as superintendent of Milwaukee Public Schools. As you might recall, if you've watched our newscast, she entered into that job with a lot on her plate. Not only was she dealing with kind of a money mess going on at Milwaukee Public Schools, the district losing millions of dollars in funding after missing several budget deadlines with the state's Department of Public Instruction. So that was something that she has been kind of forced to deal with. Then late last year, I should say late in the school year, you might recall several buildings had to shut down because of concerns over lead exposure. Students were forced to go to different buildings in the district to attend classes and to do so safely. And so, of course, getting all of those more older, aging buildings kind of cleaned up so students could return in the fall, also a major priority here. So now let's take a listen in here at this camera, this stakeout camera that we have in our nation's capital, and see kind of what's going on there. Okay, so we're kind of just hearing some light kind of chatter here. It looks like several journalists are kind of setting up shop and getting ready for their remarks here. So we'll take that as soon as it begins. But for now, what I'm going to do, okay, I just heard from our amazing producer, Delaney, that we do have Dr. Brenda Cassellius' remarks right now. So I'm going to try to get that pulled up for us right here. Please bear with me. Okay, perfect. That's on RS1 right now. Okay, wonderful. Okay, let's listen in to, this is Dr. Brenda Cassellius, Superintendent of Milwaukee Public Schools, speaking at the Rotary Club. Let me get her audio up for us.
Also COVID happened was also tremendously challenging.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That does not sound too good.
Or any challenge, all you can do is pick yourself up, do your best job each and every day.
We're gonna try something else here. Here, stick with us. You know what? I changed my mind. Forgive me. I'm going to send us to a quick break while I can hopefully get this ironed out, and I will certainly hope to see you on the other side of it.
Housing as we begin to face some of the difficult decisions facing the board and the district around closing emerging schools as well. Well, like Joel said, when I first got here, this is what hit me. Was lead. We had lead in our schools, and we needed to make sure that they were cleaned up, that we were able to
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk, everybody, and thank you so much for being so patient as we worked out that audio issue here. I really wanted to bring you Milwaukee Public Schools Superintendent Brenda Cassellius. She's speaking right now at the Rotary Club here of Milwaukee. This actually marks 6 months of her being in this role. Now, during her talk today to the Rotary Club of Milwaukee, she set to highlight progress on key issues as well as work that the district is doing moving forward. Topics are set to include things like lead paint stabilization. We know that was a really big issue for MPS families this school year, but especially late last school year. A lot of kids, you might recall, were forced to go to other school buildings because the ones that they were attending classes in simply were not safe. So she was sort of dealing with having to work with the health department, both locally and at the state, to get some of those lead issues cleaned up. She also talked about improving the district's financial reporting processes and, of course, the launch of the district's new literacy plan so that all students can learn to read better. So let's listen in here to the Rotary Club of Milwaukee. You are listening live to Dr. Cassellius.
Protocols, establishing a new control environment, making sure that we have properly trained folks in our finance department who are able to lead this work, and then making sure that our technology systems are speaking to one another. So that work's well underway. We anticipate that we will be fully finished with all of this work, with the two systems being fully compliant. Cross my fingers in the next budget year. So a lot of work that's going on in our financial reporting and making sure that we are accurately accounting for our books and making sure that we reestablish trust with the community around and be good stewards of the public's trust. I also, when I get in these rooms, want to always thank Milwaukeeans for the passage of the referendum. We would be in a very different spot right now had you all not passed the referendum, and so I'm immensely grateful to you for the passage of that. The progress of 6 months in literacy plan, I hired one of the best literacy specialists in the state, and I believe in the nation. She is Dr. Gabby Bellimenes, storyteller from Madison. I got to meet her at Aspiring Superintendent program when she was in that program for women of color. It was a program that I did executive coaching in, and so I was able to get to know her very deeply and her work and ask her advice. And so when I got the job in Milwaukee, I called her up and said, hey, I want you to join the team. And she came and joined the team, and she just has been this incredible bright light for all of us. And it's a slog because she's only been with us now since July 1. But we are putting together and launched our literacy work, and we are working with our teachers now to get them 40 hours of training, moving from 3Qing to the science of reading, making sure that that's embedded, that our teachers are using our high-quality materials, which were already funded and bought for with the ESSER funding from the district, but teachers weren't using them explicitly. Some were, of course, but not all of them, and so we want to make sure that everybody's trained. Everybody has the high-quality materials. They know how to use those materials, and we are then doing walkthroughs to make sure that they're practicing that and that they are embedding that within their practice K-12. So this year our focus is what we call level 1 teaching, which is this really good first teaching, and making sure that all of our teachers have a grounding and a foundation in the science of reading. So as I think about did I skip one? No. Okay. As I think about where we're heading, we have done those 9 listening sessions, so we've been doing a lot of strategic planning. We have begun to look at what the community is saying. I'm now doing and shifting from the external engagement and stakeholder engagement to more internal, so I'm meeting with my department chairs, meeting with all of the, going out and visiting schools and talking to teachers on the ground about things that they need, what are their hopes and dreams, and working on that strategic direction, which will have the mission, the vision of the organization. One of the findings of the governor's audit was that we should redo our strategic plan, and so we're revisiting that with the board, so they'll have working sessions. A lot of the work around our facilities, as many of you know, we also are oversized. and we have a tremendous amount of underutilized buildings. This is causing us to have large vacancies because we could combine classrooms, we could combine support, we could have better opportunities for our students, more personnel in the classroom, which is extremely important in terms of making sure we have a highly qualified, permanent teacher in every single classroom. I've been telling my team this is the most basic thing that we can do, and that is to provide a high-quality, caring, and competent teacher for every single student. So the facilities plan's going to help us do that because we'll be able to combine resources and use and maximize resources for our students and give them better opportunity across the entire city. But that comes with a lot of pain. That comes with going into communities, having tough conversations about which schools have to close or merge or be repurposed so that we can make sure that our kids are getting the best education and the greatest opportunity at that education. So not only are we going out with strategic planning this fall, we'll be going out with facility planning. Perkins Eastman has been doing some work around the data and capturing the data. They have an advisory who is looking at all of that data and have provided some thoughts on that. And now we'll go to the community and talk to the community about the choices before them. But I know that there are some really tough, hard choices that need to come for us to be able to maximize the opportunity for our children. As for budget, I have been forecasting since I came that there is a tremendous structural imbalance within our budget. We have been depending on a $75 million vacancy adjustment within our budget. We cannot no longer, we just can't do that any longer. It's not a good way to budget. It's not a good use of money to have vacancies sit out there. If you have a vacant position, it should be filled. If it's vacant for more than a year, 2 years, then we probably didn't need it. So we're going to be doing all of this assessment within the district and decide where we have vacancies, where we don't have vacancies.
I'm so sorry. I just wanted to check in with you here. You are listening live to Dr. Brenda Cassellius, Superintendent at Milwaukee Public Schools. Now she's been on the job for about 6 months, and so today she's speaking to the Rotary Club of Milwaukee on, it's sort of like a state of the district, you could say. She's talking about what they've accomplished so far since she's taken over at the helm and what they'd still like to work on. So she talked about lead abatement concerns. That was one thing that she talked about, the public health aspect of the student life. Now she's talking about her new literacy plan. So to kind of bring you up to speed here on what she's talking about, all of this kind of started or was announced after the MPS results for the 2024-2025 state assessments came in. And according to the district and according to Dr. Cassellius, they really highlighted the need for a better literacy program in the district. So Dr. Cassellius has sort of launched a new literacy plan. She said that she's going to start with high quality support and professional learning for educators. So during this school year, 40 hours of dedicated training are going to be given to teachers to help them really become experts in the science of reading. This is aligned to recent state legislation. This new literacy plan shifts from a focus on intervening with struggling students to providing high quality literacy instruction to all students from the very start. So basically the idea is that, they're proactive, they kind of go to the root of the issue. They don't wait to bring students up to speed who might be struggling with learning how to read. I want to get to these test results here because I do think that they are pretty alarming. So test results overall didn't show a lot of change across subject areas, but that's not necessarily a good thing. Math scores we know increased a little bit, but English, science, and social studies performance did not change significantly. English proficiency ranged from 19% from grades 9 through 10 to 29% at grades 7 through 8. So let that sink in there. I mean, we're talking proficiency levels at 19% to 29% on the upper end. Math proficiency, 14% at grade 10 to 24% at grade 3. So it's kind of showing here where this sort of downward trend is starting. It's not necessarily for the younger kids, but these older kids are just not really being, they're not maintaining the growth that they're seeing early on. Wide gaps are still remaining between students of different demographics, as well as students who have different ability levels. So let's listen back in. Just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of context here for Dr. Brenda Cassellius' remarks today at the Milwaukee Rotary Club.
Also, we have vacancies, other teacher vacancies. So we have vacancies, social workers, counselors, in our food nutrition areas. We have our building service workers, our facility workers. We have 10,000 employees in Milwaukee Public Schools who help us with our 156 schools. And so if you know anybody interested, I'm doing my little plug here, who needs a job, or you're out there and you work with employment folks, let them know. We're hiring and we are anxious to have them become part of the family. Attendance is a continued issue. I've been working with Kent on that and his team. We've had several meetings figuring out how do we work with the proactive pieces of attendance to get children to school, which is the pieces that we can own around just engagement, making sure that kids feel safe, that they are welcome, that they have a safe route to school, and transportation isn't a barrier for families, that they're enrolled in the right programming that fits their needs, particularly our students who speak another language or students who are receiving special education services. Those things matter with getting kids to school. The kids tell me they want good food, so we did salad bars this fall, and making sure that they had grab-and-go salads for them. But then we get to the point of where, they're not coming and they have chronic attendance. That's where Kent and his team can be good partners in terms of making sure that our families understand their responsibility too in helping us out and making sure that kiddos get to school on time. We also have canvassers. You might have seen a headline of me knocking on doors. I'm not too shy to go out and start making phone calls myself and knocking on doors and having one-on-one conversations with students and with families to tell them the importance of coming to school because every day that they choose not to come to school is a day that is a possibility that other decisions could be made that impact the rest of their lives. We also are working on the safety part of our school district. Some of you may know, we have 300 school safeties in all our elementary and high schools, middle schools too, and they help us with monitoring our doors, our video equipment that we have in our schools. They help address discipline issues within the school, and they just provide another set of eyes to our administrators. And then we have school safety resource officers. I think on the very first day I started Milwaukee Public Schools was the day that we had SROs in our high schools. So we have 25 SROs in our high schools, and they have been terrific. They're all MPS grads, which is wonderful. Or they all were last year. They may have had some shifts this year, I'm not sure. I'll check that, but they were all MPS grads last year. They are developing wonderful relationships with our students, and most of our, if not all of our principals have said that they've been valuable members of their school community. So that has been going really well, and we haven't had a lot of rancor from folks who don't want to have police in our schools, and so I think that that has been a really good partnership with the MPD and the mayor and his team. And so I'm grateful for their support. The Safety Hub will be where we are monitoring all of the video for the whole year from all of our cameras within our schools. We have thousands of cameras within our schools, and trying to get that all in one place. We don't have that working just yet, but we are working toward that, so this is the urgency work ahead, and making sure then that we have protocols that align with our fire, our first responders, and police. And so we've shifted our codes and response protocol, and we now have all new signs at all of our schools so that we're completely aligned and there's no sense of confusion when first responders are coming out to our schools, so that we have strong communication with our first responders and our school personnel, and that people fully understand that and have been trained in it. And so really excited about this work that's coming ahead. And what I want to do is to stop a little early. So when I was commissioner in Minnesota, one of the things that I liked was that when they get the commissioner in the room, that people in the audience actually want to ask questions and have time for questions. And that's a kind of style that I really like. You know, so you have the superintendent in the room. I'll use this as a listening and learn session. What is it that you want to know? What are your hopes and dreams about Milwaukee Public Schools? And how can we better partner and be better partners to all of you? So I'll go ahead and take your questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And it looks like a lot of people are taking up on that. So as the line forms, if you can please introduce yourself before you state your question.
Oh, I thought everybody was going to the restroom. Or just walking out.
Thank you, Tom Gale, and thank you for being here today. And you have we are almost not envious of the task you have ahead of you. It's wonderful. A couple of years ago, before COVID, Rotarian Barbara Bella has organized about 40 or so Rotarians and UWM students to go to the Brown Street Academy, spend an hour a week there with tutoring the students. Probably one of the more rewarding things that I've been involved with since I've been in Rotary. Is that opportunity available to us again now that COVID is behind us?
I would love that. We have not ramped up yet our volunteer work. We just established an Office of Community Family Engagement and Partnerships. So we will be ramping up that work with our partnerships, but I would absolutely love that. We need readers. We're working with Ford Scholars this year, as well as City Year, a few other tutoring programs, and I just think that children getting one-on-one support is tremendously valuable, and so we would absolutely welcome that in many other ways that we could partner. So sky's the limit.
Thank you.
Hi, thanks for being here. My name is Hannah Paul, and I'm wondering, is MPS doing anything or programming around reckless driving, knowing that's a huge problem between the 11 to 18-year-old age range? And then I'm wondering if you could share about the Twilight Centers that are offering the Twilight Center programs through Milwaukee Rec.
So I know that we do driver's ed, and so I would think that it's doing it's being taught in driver's ed, how to drive appropriately. We haven't done much advocacy on the reckless driving that I'm aware of. Tony might know more, but we haven't. Not that it's not an important issue. It's just I've only been here 6 months. But I have talked with not the governor, but the mayor about it, and he is really interested in this issue and has been working on this issue. But I haven't done anything personally on that. As for the Twilight programs, I just learned about those, and I don't have a deep knowledge about that just yet. So happy to get back to you, but I don't know a lot about Milwaukee Rec yet, other than it's a jewel. I'm not really one bad thing about Milwaukee Rec, and actually I stole the leader of Milwaukee Rec and made him my leader of my Chief and Family and Community Engagement. Quick little story, when I was interviewing for the position, and Tina might know this, when I was around the table in the final.
Did you like our Yes, did you like our We had it before. Yes, that's true. And that's why. Reminiscing the ocean game, we went down to Black Box. And then I just counting up, kind of like I said,
Where in every single neighborhood, it's such a part of growing up. When I was a kid, I used to go to the rec center all the time. When you're a kid growing up in poverty, that's like your second family. And so I said, oh my gosh, that's the cherry on the top. But I just, honestly, you've seen everything that I've had to work through in the last 6 months. I just haven't had time because it's so well functioning already. It's like on my back burner things to do while I'm dealing with the front burners right now. So I'll find out more, but Mary Urbina, when Riley's back there, can get your name and we can find out and give you more information on that program.
Thank you for being willing to come to MPS and undertake a lot of known challenges up front. I'm Brent Lawson, also an MPS parent of 2 kids. Interested in the school closure, consolidation, merger, however you want to say it. This has probably been a topic since before my kids were born, and frankly, MPS has done somewhere near zero about it for well over a decade. What is the timing and process to address that? Because I, like you, agree that it has a lot to do with resource consolidation and then really giving kids the best opportunity.
I think, I haven't had a conversation with the board about it yet, and they'll be the ones who will ultimately make the decisions, and it's a hard decision. My job as a superintendent is to bring those recommendations, but to have fully vetted it with the community opportunities so they know what the trade-offs are. You know, and so they know what the opportunities are going to be that we can then create for our kiddos. And so I'm doing that work now, trying to understand the Perkins-Eastman work that they've been doing, because they're more about what's the capacity of the building, how is it being utilized, what are the advantages, and I'm trying to look at it from the lens of what academic opportunities can we give, what co-curricular opportunities can we give, how can we maximize our staffing in our buildings, how can we provide a library in every single school. And so I'm working on something that I worked on in Boston to get the mayor behind me, which was called the Quality Guarantee. What is the basic services that every child deserves? If I ask this room, how many of you as a child had a library in your school? Raise your hand. Keep your hands up if you had gym. Gym every day. Still a lot of hands, right? How many of you had art in school? How many of you had music in school? How many of you had a playground? How many of you had a counselor in high school? Our kids deserve to have all of that, right? And so I'm hoping that we come out with I'm probably not going to call it the quality guarantee, you know, because that was in Boston, but something very similar that says this is the basic, and then what do we need to give kids who are not yet speaking English? What do we need to give kids who are autistic or have other disabilities, and what kind of spaces do they need, like sensory rooms and calm down, etc. And then what do we need to give for students who live in poverty, who have had lack of access, and do we give a differential for that? So we'll be creating that and bringing that out to the community, and then we'll be talking with the community about those opportunities that we can create if, in fact, we're able to do these things with the closing and merging of schools. I think already the timing is right now. So I'm going to start going out to the community probably in early November and talking to them about the facility work and our budget and the assumptions within our budget. And then we'll start talking some early decisions about some low-hanging fruit, for a better word for it, which is, I mean, I know for a fact I have schools that have less than 100 kids in it right now. I know that I have grades 7 and 8 where I have 25 kids in the grade and one teacher is trying to teach all subjects to that 7th grade class of kids. You know they're not getting the rigor that they deserve or need to be prepared for high school. And so it's those kind of tough conversations to go back to the school committee and say, we're going to merge these two schools. What do you think about it? Here's the opportunities we can give. And hopefully those schools will be in close enough proximity that it won't be too challenging for a family. But we know that there will be some families who will have to make sacrifices for these moves. That will be hard. But what we need to do is just promise that every family will have a good handshake and they'll have priority in choosing their schools.
I'm John Hine, and thank you for coming.
Hi, Jeff.
One of your early slides said there was going to focus on literacy and reading in the early grades. I'm a forward scholar tutor.
Oh, thank you for that.
How does that program dovetail with the program that you're now going to be implementing at the Milwaukee Public Schools?
Well, Carrie might be a better one to answer that question, but I think that they're also working on the science of reading, and they're working closely with our reading team and aligning that work. And so you guys do more pull-out with our kids for individual work. We're working on a Tier 1 model, which is all teachers getting information, whereas I believe Forward Scholars works more on Tier 2 types of interventions, which is students who need a little bit more help or just a little bump or a little bit more attention, get that attention from folks like yourself. So we're working closely. It's a much smaller program right now. I think you piloted a few years ago, and then now you're in Milwaukee Public Schools. How many schools are you in now? 9 MPS schools. And so, those tutors are invaluable to the students that they serve.
My question is the program that the Forward Scholars do similar or hopefully identical to what
Yes, they're working, the strategies are very similar for tier 2 strategies, but what we're doing on our literacy plan is tier 1, which is a little bit different than the strategy we use for pulling singular kids out for individual tutoring is different than what you would do for whole group instruction. Yeah.
Hi, Brenda. Welcome to Milwaukee.
Thank you.
My name is Tom Bujak. I worked in higher education for 20 years.
Okay, if you are just joining us for this first hour here, the Wisconsin Live Desk, you're listening live here to MPS Superintendent Brenda Cassellius, I should say Dr. Brenda Cassellius. She's speaking at the Milwaukee Rotary Club meeting right now. She's fielding questions from people in the audience. But before she was taking questions, she was sort of doing a 6-month check-in with people there about different efforts and how they're doing at the district. One of those, of course, being lead abatement, the other being financial reporting, and the third being literacy. That is a huge objective and goal of Dr. Cassellius, is to improve literacy rates within Milwaukee Public Schools. She announced one of the plans that she has for improving reading among students, and that is enhanced teacher training. She wants teachers at MPS to basically become experts in reading, experts in literacy, so that they can be the best trained that they can be in order to teach these life skills to students. So again, yes, you are listening, or you have been listening live, I should say, to Dr. Brenda Cassellius with Milwaukee Public Schools at the Milwaukee Rotary Club meeting. Okay, now we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to check in to Florida, where the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office is updating the press on Operation Viper. We'll see you in 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk, everybody. My name is Nicola Junowitz. Okay, right now I'm going to send us down to Florida, where Palm Beach County investigators, several law enforcement agencies there, are announcing a new initiative to crack down on violent crime called Operation Viper. Let's listen into what they have to say. Okay, we're working on getting some audio issues ironed out here, but this afternoon there's a news conference that involves multiple law enforcement agencies in Palm Beach County. We're talking the FBI Miami, Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office, the Martin County Sheriff's Office, West Palm Beach Police, Riviera Beach Police, Port St. Lucie Police. So this is a multi-jurisdictional effort here, again, called Operation Viper. It ran from mid-July through September in West Palm Beach, Martin, and St. Lucie counties. This is a targeted enforcement operation that was focused, again, on violent crime, drug and firearms arrests, and investigations. It's sort of consistent with really efforts that we're seeing all over the country to crack down on violent crime, to make our American cities and communities safer. Let's see now. I hope that this audio issue has been ironed out. Let's listen in, if we can. Okay, well, I'm so sorry. We tried to get that mic issue ironed out for you. Was hoping to listen into an update from the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office and the FBI Miami on their violent crime crackdown task force called Operation Viper, but unfortunately we could not figure out why we were not getting audio on that. So now instead, I think we're going to send it down to our nation's capital, where I can tell you Democratic lawmakers are kind of hosting a press conference here on the looming government shutdown. Basically, if both sides cannot come to an agreement by midnight tonight, we will see some changes effective tomorrow that could impact services that people take advantage of. So let's listen in now to this press conference happening in our nation's capital.
And take care of my children. And a mother will always choose her children. That choice has meant living in poverty. It has meant putting my own stability and career aside, and has meant relying on Medicaid. Not because I want to, but because without Medicaid, my children's therapies, their medical care, and even the chance for them to thrive would be impossible. So when we talk about cuts to Medicaid, I need you to hear this. We're not talking about numbers on a page. We're talking about my children losing their lifelines. We're talking about kids like Max, whose talents could one day make him a computer genius, or maybe just the world's best prankster, never getting the support he needs to reach his potential. We're talking about kids like Dylan, whose empathy and joy could change the lives of everyone around him, being denied the chance to shine. And as women, as mothers, we know who carries this burden. It's us. It is the mothers who step out of the workforce, who live in poverty, who shoulder the invisible labor of caregiving, only to have the government threaten to take away the one thing that keeps our families afloat. No mother should have to sacrifice everything, her income, her career, her stability, only to be told that her children's lifelines are too expensive. Yet that's exactly what these cuts would do. I believe with all of my heart that every person has a gift to give the world if they're given the chance and the support. Medicaid is what gives my children that chance. Taking it away won't just devastate my family, it will devastate futures that deserve to be built. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Teresa. And now we'll hear from Representative Grace Meng.
Yeah, Grace. Two-boy mom. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. There's a trend here. Hi, I'm Congresswoman Grace Meng from Queens, New York, and I just want to thank our outstanding Democratic Whip, Catherine Clark, for bringing us together this afternoon. Yeah. Thank you, Catherine, for always making sure that we prioritize our children and our families. As the mom of two boys, as you know, I know firsthand how vital it is for women and families to have access to the health care that they need. But the recent Medicaid cuts made by Republicans and their refusal to extend tax credits for health care premiums are unacceptable. These attacks on our health care system need to end, and I will keep up the fight to protect our health care and lower costs. I'm so proud today to introduce Laura Packard, a stage 4 cancer survivor. The Affordable Care Act helped to save her life, but the day after her first chemotherapy session, the Republican House voted to dismantle the ACA. Fortunately, this repeal did not happen, and she will now talk about how she would be hit hard if her health care is impacted.
Hi, everybody. My name is Laura Packard. I'm a small business owner in Alexandria, Virginia. And like she said, I'm here because the Affordable Care Act saved my life. 8 years ago, I walked into a doctor's office with a nagging cough and walked out with a stage 4 cancer diagnosis. Thankfully, I had good insurance through the Affordable Care Act.
Okay, so you're just listening live here to our nation's capital where Democratic lawmakers are holding a press conference. We just heard from several mothers and just there, it sounds like we heard from a cancer survivor who was talking about her experiences with the Affordable Care Act. That is one of the measures, that is one of the laws that could be impacted by this budget, which again could send us into a government shutdown by midnight tonight if a deal is not reached. Something that is unfortunately looking more and more likely at this hour. So now we're going to take another short break, and then on the other side of it, we're going to check in with our Waukesha County beat reporter, Brett Lemoyne. He's going to tell us a really fabulous story out of McWanago. We'll be right back.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
All right, everybody, good afternoon and welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is Tuesday, September 30th, and now we're going to check in with our Waukesha County reporter, Brett Lemoyne. He is joining us now live from Mukwonago with a really interesting, heartwarming, and just incredible story of a clerk there. Good morning, or good afternoon, Brett. Can you hear me?
The perfect word to describe this story. I'm so excited to share this with you, Nicola. I think back of all the extraordinary people that I've interviewed over the years, and honestly, Lana Kropp, the village clerk here, is certainly going to be one that I will remember for a very long time. She is the village clerk treasurer here in Mukwonago. She's been on the job for about 9 months, but it's what happened to her before she got the job that's really extraordinary. Get this, in December of 2023, she had back pain. She didn't know what was wrong. She went to the emergency room because she knew it wasn't right. Doctors there told her it's not back pain. She actually suffered a heart attack. She had no idea. She's got no family history of heart disease or anything like that. Doctors still aren't sure what caused this heart attack, but they kept her in observation. 4 days later, Nicola, she suffered a second heart attack. And in the span of 2 weeks that she was initially in the hospital, she also suffered 2 strokes. Okay, and the strokes, doctors say, were a result of the heart attacks that she had. Again, they still don't know what caused those heart attacks. Wow. Zoom ahead to just last summer, so not this summer of 2024. Doctors told her, after she was in the hospital, by the way, for 3 months, doctors told her you've got 2 options. One is you get a heart transplant right now. The other is we give you a LVAD. Do you know what an LVAD is by chance, Nicola?
I don't.
It's it was a plot line on Grey's Anatomy.
I missed that show. Okay. Although maybe I should have watched it.
If you're
You
a
learned
fan of
something.
Grey's Anatomy, Izzy, I believe her boyfriend had this. Season 2 is what I'm told. I can't say that I'm a huge Grey's Anatomy buff, but I believe it was season 2 plot line in Grey's Anatomy. An LVAD, essentially, Nicola, is a mechanical heart. So Lana Kropp, she opted for this option because it's going to extend the time that she has until she ultimately has to have a heart transplant, but she can live and survive with this device. It's implanted inside of her chest, and essentially it's like a turbine that helps her heart pump blood at the level that it should be pumping. She's got a little bag that she's got to wear with batteries and spare batteries in case those run out to keep that machine, that LVAD, that mechanical heart, pumping her blood for her. It's just absolutely extraordinary. She said at the end of the night, she unhooks this device, which, by the way, is like a cord that literally comes out of her abdomen into this machine, and she's able to just plug into the wall like an appliance when she goes to sleep. She jokes she's kind of like the bionic woman, right?
She is.
Of this heart. But it's absolutely incredible. Okay, so that's her medical background, okay, which is in and of itself extraordinary.
Yeah.
But now consider this. While all this is going on, Kropp was a village clerk in a couple of other municipalities before she came to Mukwonago 9 months ago. She has been trying for years to get her international certification from the International Association of Municipal Clerks, I believe is the title there, which basically means she knows a lot about municipal government, right? If she gets this distinction. The village administrator here says there's only about 1,400 people across the country who have this particular distinction. So while she's going through all of this, she was studying and taking courses and boning up on all sorts of municipal codes and laws and election laws and all that stuff to be able to get this certification. Just this month, she got certified, and it's proudly hanging on her wall here in the village hall in Mukwonago. Just an absolutely extraordinary story when you think of all the things that, kind of set her back while, she was only in her 30s. She was only 35 when these heart attacks hit her.
So
Just
young.
absolutely extraordinary. Yeah.
Yeah, and Brett, I don't want to give away your whole story because I know you're going to work on a really lovely piece for our evening newscast tonight, and so I don't want to, I want to save some of the good stuff. But when you talk to her, I mean, how is she feeling? What's her, the strength of the human spirit in stories like this is always what I find really inspiring and moving, just how positive and strong these people are. Kind of, what did you take away from your conversations with her when it comes to just how you go through something like this?
Well, she summed it up best when she said when she was in the hospital, she had to be flat on her back for weeks after that second heart attack. And then when the stroke hit, she wasn't able to really communicate well. She could only smile. And she said her then 7-year-old daughter was at her bedside. And actually, I think witnessed one of those strokes happen in real time. And all she could do was lie there and smile at her daughter. And that really was one thing that kept her going. But she also says the other thing that kept her going were the people here in, that she serves. Not at the time, she wasn't working in Mukwonago, but the job that she has, she takes very, very seriously. I mean, when you think about it, clerks are a huge, huge importance in any community. They're responsible for elections. They're responsible for, codes and laws. You got to stay up on all these things because they change. Sometimes on a monthly or an annual basis, these laws are constantly in flux. And she said that was really something that kept her going. But you know what, Nicola, I want to leave you with this because it was so important. I think this is really the most powerful message here, is that she said everyone watching this needs to just be aware of their heart health.
Okay.
Right? She still doesn't know. She still doesn't know what caused those heart attacks. She's otherwise in pretty good shape. But she says had she not realized that something was wrong after that back pain, it was not even with her heart, but back pain, had she not walked into the ER that day, she probably would not be here serving the people of the village of Mukwonago. So it's really something that she says, make sure everybody knows their body and is an advocate for their own health if you, God forbid, ever find yourself in a situation like this.
That really seems to be the takeaway here, just being your own advocate, knowing your own body, listening to your gut, or I guess in this case, listening to your heart when you feel like something is not right, getting to a doctor just like this young woman did. Brett Lemoyne, our Waukesha County beat reporter. I cannot wait to see this story. It airs in which newscast tonight?
We're going to be on at 5 and 6 o'clock tonight, and then, of course, you can find it on Fox Local on demand.
All right, Brett Lemoyne, thank you so much. I cannot wait to meet this woman through your introduction. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, my gosh, what an incredible story there from Brett. I'm just so excited to see that one. He always does such a wonderful job here. Okay, I'm going to try to... There we go. I'm so sorry. I couldn't get out of that double box. Okay, so now we're going to take a quick break. I'm just still feeling so moved by that interview, that conversation that we just had with Brett. He did such a fabulous job just kind of summing up this woman's experience. And I think the story is going to just be sensational. Okay, let's take a quick break now here if we can. I'll see you on the other side of it.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk, everybody. Nicola Junowitz here, wrapping up things for your first hour here. Right now, I'm going to leave you and tag out here. Haley Spittler is waiting in the wings to kind of come in and take over here. So we're going to leave you here with a Senate stakeout camera. As you can see, there's a large media gaggle present there as the media and local and state and federal lawmakers alike are just kind of waiting to figure out if the government is going to shut down at midnight. This budget battle continues to loom. We are just inching closer and closer here to that happening, potentially the worst case scenario here. So we're going to leave you here with this camera. Hopefully somebody will take to the podium here in a matter of minutes. But it has been a pleasure to join you on this Tuesday, September 30th for the Wisconsin Live Desk. I'm Nicola Junowitz. I will see you same time, same place next week.
This from Tom.
What?
Is this email from Tom? So here's my burning question. If there's a shutdown, does the Senate carry on staying?
Yes.
It does?
The food, they just put out a notice today that food services still will continue.
Upset. Say.
Upset.
Yeah, but I need the carrot in the basement. But he said it's open. Well, it saved my life.
You're welcome. I mean, it's not the first time I've saved your life, but yeah.
I'm sure it's not, but I mean, and since we're going to be trapped here,
That's interesting.
All right.
right. If you are just joining us, we have been kind of watching this live feed that's coming out of D.C., where we are expecting to hear from some Democratic leaders, as of course there is the potential for a possible government shutdown. The clock's certainly ticking here. Midnight is when the government would shut down if Republicans and Democrats cannot pass a new short-term funding extension. I know there's a lot of questions here as to what would happen if the government were to shut down. A myriad of things would happen. Basically, anyone who's deemed non-essential, who is a federal worker, somebody employed by the government, would be furloughed temporarily. Now, once the government were to be back and that shutdown is over, they would receive pay. The other option is what's known as accepted, which is EXCEPTED employees. Those are ones who are deemed essential, who need to continue to work, but they're asked to work without pay, which usually they're okay to do for a little bit, but depends how long the government shutdown goes. And that's where things can get complicated. Of course, once a budget were to be passed, they would also receive that back pay as well. Right now, though, Republicans and Democrats, they are not seeing eye to eye. We did see the Democrats kind of pass and agree to some of the things Republicans wanted earlier this year to avoid a shutdown. This time around, Chuck Schumer has been very outspoken to say, that's the Senate Minority Leader, that they would not be willing to reach a compromise and give up on certain things this time around. And obviously now we are entering kind of that final countdown, less than 12 hours. People are saying that it's not looking likely that they're going to reach an agreement. Democrats are really wanting to see an extension on the Affordable Health Care Act, whereas Republicans are really wanting a clean funding bill. They're not wanting any extra items tossed into this. So, of course, we are following this. Our very own Jason Calvi actually is working on this story today. We're going to hope and see if he can join us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. We know he's busy interviewing people, but we know you have a lot of questions about a potential government shutdown and what it means for you. I know this morning we were talking about, does Social Security continue? Or what about FEMA aid? I mean, not only is Wisconsin still dealing with the fallout from a ton of flooding and so much damage back in August, but we have 2 tropical storms that we are watching right now out of the Atlantic. So a lot of questions as to what happens with some of those different federal agencies if this government were to shut down. And we are working to get you answers. I can tell you Social Security, you will continue to receive payments. As for FEMA, it's a little bit more complicated. That's what Jason is digging into. And again, we're going to hope and see if he can join us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. I do want to hop over here to the White House. We did have some breaking news come in just a short time ago, and this is a ruling coming in from a federal judge who has found the Trump administration unconstitutionally targeted non-citizens for deportation over Gaza war protests. So not a whole lot of information on this one yet, but we know U.S. District Judge William Young has agreed with several university associations that the policy that they described as ideological deportation violates the First Amendment. This Tuesday, this ruling that came out today, it follows a trial, and there has been kind of a request put in to Homeland Security. So far, that has not been returned. So again, the big headline there, though, is that a judge has found the Trump administration unconstitutionally targeted non-citizens over Gaza war protests. So that's some big news coming out of D.C. Obviously, the other big news coming out of D.C. is that potential government shutdown, which we are monitoring. There is nobody at the podium yet. We are waiting to potentially hear from some lawmakers. We're going to try and pop in and out of that feed as things happen. We'll bring it to you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. But as Nicola mentioned, I'm Haley. I'll be with you here for the next hour until 2:30, and then Ben Handelman will take over for our newly expanded third hour of the Wisconsin Live Desk. We have just a lot of things we're monitoring. Ben is going to talk hockey with you. I know the Milwaukee Admirals are getting ready to start their season. Of course, I'm going to talk baseball with you in a little bit because the Brewers and the Cubs. I know there's some of you guys who watch from Illinois. Cubs have big games starting in just a few minutes, but of course the Brewers, they get to bypass that wild card round. And they're practicing today for their October baseball as they will soon take off in the NLDS. They don't know who they're playing yet. It'll either be the Cubs or the Padres. That just depends on who wins these next couple of games happening out of Wrigley. We are monitoring also this feed right here. This is the City Hall Campus Emergency Preparedness Committee here in Milwaukee. They are discussing several different policies and programs. The beginning of their agenda is just kind of the ceremonial things that you have to do, clocking minutes, all of that. So we're not going to go and listen into this just quite yet, but of course we will bring that to you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk as soon as that really gets underway. But yeah, lots of things we're monitoring here that we'll bring to you in the next hour. But for now, we're just going to take a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back into the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is Haley on a Tuesday as it is 1:41 p.m. in the afternoon. And if you're in Milwaukee, I mean, it is a beautiful afternoon. Take this live look outside. This is from our downtown camera where the sky is blue, the birds clearly flying around there, and it is in the 70s, which is crazy because tomorrow is October. But you would never believe that just walking outside. It is absolutely beautiful summer-like temperatures. And really, it sounds like this is kind of copy and paste for the rest of the week, which no complaints on our end. That is beautiful news. So get outside. I know I'm such a fall lover that part of me wishes I had like true sweater weather. But again, I was saying it yesterday, I know that soon enough this is going to be gone and I'm going to be so sad and missing these warmer temperatures. So get outside and soak up the sunshine. And if you do love fall, just know soon enough it will be here, and then winter will be here, and winter will never leave. Before the break, I did talk a little bit about this meeting that's happening right now in Milwaukee. Again, this is the City Hall Campus Emergency Preparedness Committee. I know moments ago we were hearing from the fire chief. They are expected to discuss several different kind of programs and policies and plans, all related to, of course, emergencies and being ready for them. So we are going to listen in here for a little bit. Again, this is happening live right now in Milwaukee.
A central plan, but that's individually communicated out.
Absolutely valid.
Yeah.
1,000% valid. One of the items in what Ryan will go through in a bit with his update. One of the items, and I know we focus more on some than others, but is focusing on a coherent incident command structure. And that is precisely what you're talking about. That is, anybody from any point can reach into the system, communicate needs up, and resources can be communicated down. If that's properly structured, it's actually kind of...
Which went back down.
It's a really, really good thing.
And isn't that what we run the drills off of?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So that is a structure that everybody in any department can take part in. Quite frankly, it requires anybody who has jurisdiction over an area or a facility or a body of employees that they should be stakeholders in what's going on. Now, that doesn't mean we're equipping you with firewalls because you work in the common council office with the fire. Not that very tactical operational stuff, but information flow. And for exactly the scenario you're talking about, it serves no purpose for us to do this while, 82% of the time, and the other 18% of the time, people are orphaned and have no idea what's going on. Because those folks will, they're always going to speak louder than the ones for whom the system works.
Can I just make a comment in regards to the physical space and the audit of that? I think it's important to understand that the emergency response team here.
Alrighty, if you are just joining us, we were listening in here to the Emergency Preparedness Committee meeting that's happening in Milwaukee. We know the audio isn't the best right now. The good news is we do have a crew there, obviously, so we will bring you kind of the latest updates and what you really need to know, the important stuff out of this committee meeting coming up later today on Fox Local and, of course, Fox 6. So stay tuned for that. I do want to get us actually back to D.C., where right now there is a Senate Judiciary Subcommittee happening, and this is a hearing happening on what they call the competition in America's skies, which if you're thinking, what's that? It would be the competition amongst airlines. Obviously, this is Senator Booker here speaking right now. We also know the CEO of Allegiant and Frontier will be here. Those are two very affordable airlines. We also have a myriad of other people expected to speak today. So we're going to listen in here for a little bit as they talk about competition in America's skies.
Mid-sized cities, routes, and connectivity, and how airport hubs don't work, or how airport hubs don't work. But it's clear to me that taxpayers and government have been invested in the success of airlines and airports in America, and we deserve better returns on that investment in the form of efficient, safe, meaningful air choices and competitive pricings. The stakes are really high. Competition is critical for safety and for maintaining and supporting the essential workforce that ensures safety and maintenance. I believe that we have to do more. We must invest in our systems, including addressing our air traffic controller shortage and our infrastructure needs. And it seems like this industry needs capacity, more routes to smaller, mid-sized cities, and a bit of a buffer. This is something we should all be committed to. More staff, bigger seats, and extra aircrafts on standby should be part of this conversation. To weather crises and the natural boom and bust cycles in the market, as well as to prevent bankruptcies and unfair competition that lead to ultimately less meaningful choices for higher airfares for American travelers, is truly at issue. A resilient airline industry is the most important goal here, to keep American carriers competitive around the world and to protect travelers from safety issues that DC locals have been tragically reminded this year could have serious consequences. We have work to do, and competition is at the center of it, and this committee, I'm grateful for, is hopefully going to start finding some solutions. The last thing I want to say is I want to add to these witnesses, it is a big deal when you come and testify before Congress, before the United States Senate. It's also a bit of a sacrifice, leaving your jobs and your families often come here. Many of you had to fly, and we know how burdensome that can be. So I want to thank everybody for being here, and I will try not to get very upset at Professor Sitaraman because he's an extraordinary guy. I've read his bio, but that hair is very obnoxious to me and the chairman of this committee, sir. I should hold him in contempt of Congress, but
It almost feels like a war crime.
Yes, sir. There was a day that we looked that good.
It's a great point. We really do appreciate you coming here and knowing how busy you all are. It's important to remember that while much of what we've said and what we may explore may sound like a complaint, there's not any one person or one business that has developed the status quo. This has been an iterative process made over multiple decades under multiple administrations and different antitrust regulators over many years. The question before us is what the state of competition is in the industry, and what, if anything, do we need to know as a subcommittee charged with periodically reviewing our antitrust and competition policy laws and also the enforcement of those through our oversight capacity, whether things are going in the right direction. So with that, I'll introduce our witnesses. We've got Gregory Anderson here as the president and CEO of Allegiant Airlines. Sharon Pinkerton, who's the senior vice president of legislative and regulatory policy at Airlines for America. Barry Biffle, who is the president and CEO of Frontier Airlines. We have Professor Ganesh Siddharaman here. He's a professor at Vanderbilt University School of Law. And last but not least, William McGee, who is here as a senior fellow for aviation and travel at American Economic Liberties Project. Thanks to all of you for being here. If you'll each stand, I'll swear you in and then we'll begin. Do each of you swear, and please raise your right hand, you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide to the subcommittee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. The record will reflect that they each answered in the affirmative. All right, let's begin with you, Mr. Anderson, and then we'll move from your end of the table one by one down. So we'll hear from Mr. Biffle, Mr. McGee, Ms. Pinkerton, and then we'll finish with Mr. Siddharaman before opening it up for questions. Go ahead, Mr. Anderson.
Chairman Lee, Ranking Member Booker, and members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. My name is Greg Anderson, and I serve as the CEO of Allegiant Travel Company. At Allegiant, we offer safe, reliable, convenient travel at unbeatable value. All of our flights are nonstop and focused on the leisure traveler. Without Allegiant, many people who live outside major cities wouldn't have access to affordable air travel. By offering unbundled pricing and low fares, we make it possible for a broader spectrum of Americans to travel to high-priority vacation destinations. Roughly 70% of the routes we serve have no other nonstop flight options. The convenience and value we provide adds competition to the market, expanding the range of options available to these small and medium-sized communities. I am here to talk about potential ways to make air travel more accessible for everyone, and to share my concern that if trends continue, American travelers may have fewer options and face higher prices. We believe that there are a few key actions that can help strengthen the sector. First, the advancement and modernization of air traffic control systems across all communities, big and small. Inefficiencies and delays within the air travel industry are often attributable to outdated technology and insufficient staffing. We are encouraged by the administration's plan to modernize ATC and Congress's support and funding. Second, improving gate access for value airlines. The current gate allocation process tends to reinforce the existing advantages of legacy carriers. To address these discrepancies, we supported the Bipartisan Airport Gate Competition Act introduced last Congress and would welcome such legislation. Third, international market access through joint ventures. Large legacy carriers have been allowed to enter into broad alliances for decades. These ventures give them marketing power, scheduling power, and pricing power that small carriers cannot match. Allegiant sought to pursue a similar joint venture, but tailored that to the value airline model. In 2021, in partnership with Viva Aerobus in Mexico, we filed for a first-of-its-kind value airline alliance. Together, we proposed 92 nonstop routes between the U.S. and Mexico. This alliance would introduce low-fare competition into the market. It could increase the total number of direct U.S. to Mexico routes by 50% and given nearly 5 million more Americans access to affordable international travel. However, this venture has yet to receive approval from the Department of Transportation despite these clear pro-competitive benefits. Last, I would like to discuss regulation of the industry. Let me be clear, safety is and always must be the top priority. But rules that go beyond safety and into regulation of consumer choice will inevitably lead to pricing out the most fair cost-conscious customers. Customers that we are proud to serve. Full fair advertising rules intended to increase transparency actually conceal the impact that government fees and taxes have on the consumer. Allegiant offers clear pricing, letting customers see and select only the options they want, prioritizing transparency and choice. We also go beyond what regulation requires when it comes to standing behind our product. For example, Allegiant compensates passengers up to $300 in addition to a ticket refund if we cancel a flight within our control. Air travel innovation is driven by competition. When value airlines like Allegiant enter new markets, the average fare dropped by 19% across all airlines. We believe that a healthy airline industry benefits everyone. Value airlines such as Allegiant make it possible for a family of 4 to take their dream vacation for hundreds of dollars less than they would otherwise pay. Allegiant is proof that competition and deregulation works. I am proud of the 70% of customers who choose to fly with us again. We provide otherwise ignored communities with safe, reliable, and nonstop service at prices that are affordable for everyday Americans. In my visits to our bases and through conversations with customers, I can tell you that what we provide is necessary and important to the industry. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Mr. Chairman, can I just put into the record that Barry Biffle is an awesome name? Yes, yeah.
Does anyone object?
No, okay.
With that objection, it'll be duly noted in the record.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead, Mr. Biffle.
Thank you. I don't have the hair he does, but, and it's too late in life, I guess, for that, but thank you. So, Chairman, ranking member, and members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. Airline CEOs like myself usually get invited to Capitol Hill when something's gone wrong, a snowstorm, a canceled flight, or an angry customer on the evening news. So let me start by thanking you for inviting me under better circumstances. Again, I'm Barry Biffle. I'm the CEO of Frontier Airlines. At Frontier, we have a simple mission: make flying affordable, greener, and more accessible for the average traveler. We're a low-cost carrier, which means we don't rely on fancy lounges or first-class suites. What we offer is safe, reliable, and affordable way for Americans to travel. Today, I want to speak very seriously about a few issues, and the first one I want to talk about is gate access and how that impacts competition. Air travel is not just about getting from point A to point B, it's about opportunity, the ability for a family in a small town to take their kids to Disney, or for a student to jump on a trip home for the holidays. Competition makes all that possible. History shows us that when low-cost carriers like Frontier enter a market, fares go down, sometimes 20, 30, even 40%. Customers win. The legacy airlines, United, Delta, American, have grown traffic just 6% since 2000, while raising fares over 40%. By contrast, low-cost carriers have grown traffic by 152% with only a 10% increase in fares. That's competition at work. So the question before us is not whether competition works, it's whether new competitors are allowed to compete at all. And that's what brings me back to gates. In our industry, the gate is the front door. You can have the planes, pilots, fuel, and crews, but if you don't have the gate, you don't get to play. Right now, too many of those gates are locked up by a handful of big airlines. Across the country, we see fortress hubs, airports with a single airline controlling 60, 70, 80% of the gates. This kind of dominance doesn't give carriers pricing power, it gives them control of who gets in and out of the market. Here's the kicker. Many of these gates are not even fully used. Dominant carriers hold them, they sit on them, and block competitors from coming in. Meanwhile, customers in these cities pay higher airfares and have fewer choices as a result.
If you are just joining us, we've been listening in here on this subcommittee happening in the Senate called Competition in America's Skies. We were just hearing from the CEO of Allegiant. This is now the CEO of Frontier, where they're talking about, I mean, it can be good to have competition. Usually it benefits you, the passenger, especially when, you know, Allegiant and Frontier and Spirit, these more budget airlines enter the competition, bringing down prices. Also talking about, you know, the fees that come with flying and sometimes how they're hidden, and other companies try to be more transparent. They are going to take questions soon, it sounds like, so we'll keep our eye on this. We are monitoring that. Of course, this is happening in a Senate subcommittee, also happening on DC Looks like we're seeing a setup here for potentially hearing from a lawmaker soon. This is, we're expecting to hear from some Democratic lawmakers again as we await a possible government shutdown. If Republicans and Democrats cannot reach an agreement to pass some kind of temporary funding extensions, some short-term funding extensions here in the next 10 hours, we could potentially see that government shutdown. We've been keeping our eye here on the podium. So far, no one has come up. Obviously, we do have some poster boards that have been set up. So if somebody does take to the microphone, we will bring that to you here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. And also some good news. We do have it confirmed now that we'll get to hear from our very own Jason Calvi. He'll be joining us in about 15 minutes from the newsroom as he continues to work on his story about the government shutdown and really how this could impact you here in Wisconsin. We know so many of you have questions about what this means. I feel like we've seen it happen before, but every time a government shutdown occurs, you still have those questions and you have to remind yourself what it looks like, what it means, and how long it can last, which you never know. Sometimes they're quick, sometimes they're long. So, of course, here at Fox 6, we will definitely keep you updated on all things potential government shutdown. And speaking of deadlines, another really important deadline here in Wisconsin, if you have United Healthcare insurance and you see doctors at Ascension, Wisconsin, you might remember this, that they are currently having contract negotiations where they weren't seeing eye to eye. They have not made any agreements. So if you do have United Healthcare, Ascension could potentially be out of network. And that deadline to reach an agreement is today. So we did reach out. We have heard from both parties. I'm going to bring you some of their statements here on air that we received today. This is from Dustin Hinton. He is the United Healthcare CEO, and his statement reads, Ascension Wisconsin continues to maintain its demands for unsustainable price hikes that would increase healthcare costs for consumers and employers. Our top priority is to reach an agreement that is affordable while providing continued, uninterrupted network access to Ascension's hospitals and providers. And he went on to say, we have proposed rate increases that would continue to reimburse Ascension at market competitive rates while also requesting to extend our current contract to provide additional time to continue discussions. Ascension refused. We urge Ascension to work with us on solutions Wisconsin families and employers can afford. And we've also heard from Ascension. This comes from an Ascension Wisconsin spokesperson. They told us in part, quote, Ascension Wisconsin continues to negotiate with United Healthcare to ensure our patients with United Healthcare coverage can remain in network with our hospitals, clinics, and doctors. They went on to say, unfortunately, United Healthcare, one of the largest and most profitable insurance companies in the country, reporting tens of billions of dollars in annual profits, is not offering reimbursement at what we believe to be fair, sustainable rates that reflect today's dramatic financial realities facing health systems. In fact, United Healthcare's proposals represent a drastic shift from our current agreement, changes that we believe could reduce access and affordability and make it harder for many patients to get the care from the medical professionals who know them best, end quote. So obviously here, not necessarily the best of news. If you have United Healthcare and you want to continue to see your doctors at Ascension, Wisconsin, it doesn't look like they've made any progress. It doesn't look necessarily like we might even just see a contract extension in this negotiation period, but we will continue to monitor this and bring you any updates and any new information that we learn. I know we were talking in our morning meeting, and there's just a lot of questions here as well. We were talking about the questions you might have with the government shutdown. What if you're somebody who has an appointment next week with your Ascension, Wisconsin doctor? Can you still go and see them? What about procedures? So, of course, we are monitoring this very closely, and if there are any updates on the government shutdown or any updates here from Ascension, we, of course, will bring those to you. I do want to get us back quickly to D.C. before we do take a break. We do have a lawmaker at the podium, so I want to listen in again as we await for the possible government shutdown and see if we have any updates here.
Costs on everybody else. So virtually no American with health insurance is immune from these disastrous Trump cuts. And what are Republicans doing about this? Avoiding lying. This week, look at this poster. Here. Let's get it front and center. I borrowed Thune's poster today, as many of you saw. This is what the House Republican Conference call. Lisa McClain, the head, walked members through polling and advised them not to make the message about health care, because ours lose that argument. That's not me. That's one of the Republican leaders who's in charge of messaging. They're right. She's right. Their position is so callous, and the damage is much greater than even people thought, that it's very unpopular. So when they're up against the brutal fact that Americans are to pay, take this one up, 114% more for marketplace enrollees who currently receive financial assistance. That's the Kaiser Foundation. It's devastating, devastating to them. And let me be clear, because they like to tell lies because they can't argue the merits. So they make up things. They said they're saying undocumented people cannot and will not receive premium tax credits. They say that undocumented people are going to get these credits. That is absolutely false. That is one of the big lies they tell, so they don't have to discuss the issues. The federal government, by law that we passed, does not fund health insurance for undocumented immigrants in Medicaid, period, nor the ACA, nor Medicare. Undocumented immigrants do not get federal health insurance premiums, period. Period. They're lying. I hope you'll call them on it when they bring it up. Some of the newspapers have. Okay? I said this directly to Speaker Johnson in the Oval Office. I told him what he was saying was bull, because he said, you guys want that. And he just smirked and didn't even answer it. And why are they lying? They know how unpopular their position is on health care, that they shouldn't talk about it. Republicans know perfectly well that undocumented immigrants are already prohibited, as I said, from getting insurance on ACA, Medicare, or Medicaid. They know perfectly well not a single sentence or clause or...
Alrighty, if you're just joining us, we've been listening in here out of D.C. That is, of course, the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, a Democrat, addressing this potential government shutdown, really emphasizing there the importance of health care. Of course, we are also monitoring the feeds for any Republicans who might provide comments. We're not sure if we will get those, but we will absolutely bring you both sides of that argument if we are able to. Again, possible government shutdown tonight, becoming October, so October 1st, so at midnight. And we're going to learn more about all of that coming up in less than 10 minutes now as our very own Jason Kelby will join us. But for now, we're just going to take a quick break because after that, we have Question of the Day. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back into the Wisconsin Live Desk this Tuesday afternoon. Time check for you. It is now 2:10, which means it is time for our, at least for my hour, I don't know if Nicola used it, our first appearance for me with the Delaney camera. There she is. Happy Tuesday, Delaney.
Hey, Haley. Happy Tuesday.
Question of the day. It is National Chewing Gum Day. So you can choose what your question of the day is. It's either one, and spoiler alert, you have to answer both. What is your favorite type of gum? And two, can you blow a bubble?
Yeah, I can blow a bubble. My favorite type of gum now, just anything mint. But
Yeah.
growing up, I loved the Hubba Bubba tape gum.
Yep.
I thought that was the best.
Yeah, I would say now I'm probably I like Orbit, like mint would be great. But growing up, I liked Hubba Bubba, but not the tape. I liked Hubba Bubba Max, and they had this flavor of strawberry watermelon, and I could blow gnarly size bubbles of that one.
Hubba Bubba had the best gum for blowing bubbles.
Yes,
I think.
it's true, because now I find myself like out of habit. If I have like a piece of gum, like I try, and like sometimes you can get it. Most time it's just disappointing compared to Hubba Bubba.
Right.
Right. This
It's
is why you
definitely
guys
a disappointment, but
disappointment. This is why people tune into the Wisconsin Live Desk, so we can help them determine what's the best chewing gum to blow bubbles with on National Chewing Gum Day. Okay, do we have one true or false today, Delaney?
Yeah, just one today.
Okay, here is. It's time for trivia. Oh, my computer just froze. Hold on, there we go. It is time for our question of the day. True or false? The oldest piece of gum was found in Finland. Okay, so if you weren't here yesterday, Ted Perry, I feel like really just put his input in for during the true or false segment, and he led me astray, and I got both wrong. So I really want to get today's right, and Finland seems so incredibly random that I want to believe it's true. But again, when you have questions like this, it's so easy for Delaney to just change the country to trick me. I'm looking at her face. She's not giving me any tells. All right, Delaney, let's go true.
This one is true. It was found in 2007 by
Okay.
a British student, and the gum was actually made of bark tar.
Oh.
So like a piece of bark. Isn't that weird?
That sounds disgusting compared. We were
Right?
talking about like strawberry watermelon, and now you have bark tar.
I know. Definitely didn't have as good of flavors.
No. In the UK, what are you guys doing over there? You need me to send you over some Hubba Bubba? I guess that's what we'll do.
Right?
That's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. All right, I'm proud, Delaney. I feel like I rectified yesterday's terrible performance.
Definitely a comeback today.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited for that. Well, hey, we still have a lot coming up here in this last 18 minutes with me on the Wisconsin Live Desk, but you have even more coming up in the next hour and 18 minutes, because remember, Wisconsin Live Desk now goes until 3:30 every single day. We are going to get to talk with our very own Jason Calvi. I see him in the newsroom. He's ready. Let's see if he'll give us a wave to tease us. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend, whose headroom is currently a little bit cut off. Jason, you might have to sit down lower in that chair. We'll get that fixed during this break, and we'll go talk to him about the government shutdown coming up in 2 minutes. Stay with us.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Welcome back into the Wisconsin Live Desk this Tuesday afternoon at 2:15, where a lot of eyes are here. D.C., of course, is taking a live look here at the White House, but really all eyes are on Congress as we are waiting to see about a potential government shutdown. We know this is a situation that can bring up a lot of questions for you. So, of course, our very own Jason Calvi, the man, the myth, the legend, the expert on just so many things. This is your story today, Jason, and I'm curious, for starters, how did we get here? We're looking at less than 10 hours now until this potential government shutdown.
Yeah, 10 hours at midnight tonight. What day are we talking about? I always like to just say 11:59 today, or 12:01 tomorrow morning. The government is going to shut down. So we're, as you mentioned, just about 10 hours away, less than 10 hours now at this point. And it seems like both parties are locked in on their views, and it seems like, at least right now, the odds are very likely that the government is going to shut down in a matter of hours.
Okay, so that sounds really daunting. What exactly does that mean? What happens if the clock strikes midnight? The Republicans and the Democrats, they never saw eye to eye. No sort of short-term funding extension is passed, and the government shutdowns. What will things look like tomorrow?
So I can tell you, I was in Washington, D.C. when we had the last government shutdown. It happened in December of it was in the end of the year in 2018. It actually extended through 2019. And I was there for that, and you could see even some of the parks where the garbage had been piling up. For example, there's a national, it's run by the National Park Service, but it's outside of Union Station there, the main train station, and near the Capitol in Washington, D.C., and there'd be piles and piles of garbage that took a while to get picked up. That's one of those small effects that I noticed just with my own eyes in 2018, 2019. Some other things you're going to see is some of those government monuments might be closed off. There might not be park rangers to assist you at some of those places. One of the things that you'll be looking at is just how long this is going to extend out, because right now both sides are not agreeing. They can't come to a consensus on the next steps, and it really goes back. It's been going on for weeks and weeks and months, this argument over this continuing resolution. It's called a continuing resolution because it keeps the government funded. The one that's on the table right now from Republicans would extend the funding for 7 weeks, so we'd be right back at this debate over funding again in 7 weeks' time if the Senate were to pass what the House already passed, which neutral observers on the outside, like Jake Sherman over at Punchbowl News, he said that what the Republicans have put forward is, quote unquote, a clean CR, meaning it's not trying to sneak in some policies that would be beneficial to Republicans. He called it a clean CR, a continuing resolution. What Democrats are pushing for is they want to see the government, they want to see tied in with this continuing resolution to keep the government open for 7 weeks. They want to see an extension of the Obamacare premium tax credits. So right now, a lot of people across the whole country, and including in Wisconsin, are being assisted by the Obamacare tax credits. It's saving them a lot, hundreds of dollars a month on their premiums. Those are set to expire December 31st, 2025, so they go through the rest of this year. But after that, people are going to have those Obamacare premium tax credits gone away, and they're going to see those premiums really spike for many people. So the question is, Democrats really are trying to include that in this 7-week continuing resolution debate. They really want to see that, and they're pretty much voting no on what, as I said, the neutral observer Jake Sherman called a clean CR. They're voting no on that because they want to see the Obamacare tax credits added on and passed by the Senate tonight.
Jason, I'm curious because obviously right now all signs are kind of pointing to the government shutting down. As you mentioned, it doesn't look like there's been any room to reach that common ground, reach an agreement. What does it mean for certain everyday things that we use? I know in our morning meeting we talked about Social Security, we talked about FEMA. Obviously here in Wisconsin, people are still trying to get FEMA aid. There's also 2 tropical storms in the Atlantic right now. I'm personally flying on Friday, and I'm curious about TSA agents. Do you have any answers on those types of things?
So those sort of essential services, for example, the U.S. military, they're still going to be reporting for duty. They will continue working. but they would then get back pay after the government reopened. So that's what normally happens is these people that are running the air traffic control towers, people that are in the U.S. military that are, serving at various bases and stations across the world, they're still going to get paid later after the government reopens.
Jason, I'm also curious. I mean, I want to say it was earlier this year, or maybe back in March, we were faced with another potential government shutdown. And that time, the government did not shut down. Chuck Schumer, specifically, I remember the Senate Minority Leader speaking out saying, we're not in a good place to have the government shut down. We saw Democrats more so compromise. Have we heard from them this time around about what's different and why they're really, sticking to their ways and not willing to give in?
So the Democratic leader, Chuck Schumer, had gone forward and helped to last go around when there was the possibility of a shutdown, had really helped his members to vote for keeping that government open with the continuing resolution. He got blasted from House Democrats who really felt like they were potentially being alienated from the Senate Democratic leader. This go around, you're seeing that unified front from both Hakeem Jeffries, who's the minority leader in the U.S. House, the Democratic leader there, and Chuck Schumer. They both went to the White House yesterday, both spoke at the microphone afterwards, and it looks like they're really tying this continuing resolution, which again is that device to keep the government open for, in this case, 7 weeks. They really want to see in that vote extension of these Obamacare tax credits, and that is their red line. They are not going to vote for this bill if it doesn't include those tax credit extension in this bill.
Yeah, we actually can see Chuck Schumer right now in D.C. at a podium answering questions to the media right now happening in D.C. Jason, I'm just curious, how long, does a government shutdown usually last? I know there's no easy answer there, but what do we typically see?
It could last days, it could last weeks. So it really is a question. At this point, the two sides are not coming to a consensus. There doesn't look to be an exit ramp, but there are things that are in the pipeline in the Senate to try to potentially have that debate on the premium tax credit extension, I should say. So we're going to see today, today is the crucial vote in the Senate on these proposals from the Republicans and the Democrats. At the end of the day, it's likely that government is going to shut down at 11:59 tonight, and then we'll see what happens from here. But there's got to be an off ramp for a government shutdown, and you're going to see some of the senators really trying to work behind the scenes to see what that off ramp could be. A promise potentially to vote on the extension of the tax credits after they expire in December 31st, 2025.
Yeah, obviously a big story here that might go on for a while, something that we will continue to cover here at Fox 6, Fox Local, Wisconsin Live Desk. Jason, I know you've got a story to work on, so we will let you go. But thanks for kind of providing us some updates on what potentially could happen here at midnight.
Thank you.
All right, that's the latest right there on the government shutdown. I know I mentioned it during Jason's hit there, but we can still see Chuck Schumer, other Democratic lawmakers here in D.C. talking right now about the need for health care. Oh, it looks like they're done right now. Good thing we're not listening in. But they continue to stand firm on what they want to see in order to get this extension of funding passed. So, of course, we are monitoring for updates, and we'll continue to bring them here to you on the Wisconsin Live Desk. I promised you some sports coverage, so don't worry. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk all things baseball. It's an important day in Chicago for your Brewers, because they're going to try and get maybe a hint at who they might be facing come the NLDS. It's either going to be the Chicago Cubs or the San Diego Padres. They are starting their wild card series. It actually should be underway as of about the last 15 minutes at Wrigley today. So game 1 for sure happening today. Game 2 going to happen tomorrow. If the same team wins both of those, you do not need game 3. So Brewers are kind of sitting back. They're practicing today, and they're waiting to see who they are going to be facing come game 1 of the NLDS. But we're going to take a quick break, and I'll get you caught up to speed on all things Brewers. We'll be right back.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey guys, welcome back into the Wisconsin Live Desk. I've got just a few minutes left with you before Ben Handelman takes over. He's already waiting in the wings. He's ready for his time here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. I want to take you guys live outside to AmFam, where the Brewers are preparing for the postseason. Beautiful day outside, so of course that roof is open. Our very own Tim Van Voren was at AmFam just a little bit ago. They were letting some media see the Brewers players as they practice and speak to them, and of course we also heard from their manager, Pat Murphy. So we've got a lot coming up for you later today on the Brewers postseason. They will have Game 1 on Saturday at AmFam, but they still don't know who they are facing again. It's either the San Diego Padres or the Chicago Cubs. Game 1 of that wild card series underway right now. It is scoreless in the top of the second, so still no hints yet as to who the Brewers will be taking on. But if you want to know the schedule for that, you've got Game 1 of the NLDS Saturday, October 4th. That's at American Family Field. Then Game 2 is going to be Monday, October 6th. That's at American Family Field. Game 3 is Wednesday, October 8th. That one's on the road, so it would either be in San Diego or Chicago, depending on who they're facing. And then Game 4 and 5, those are only if necessary. So if the same team sweeps the first 3 games, they have won, they advance to the NLCS. But if you need Game 4, that remains on the road Thursday, October 9th. And then Game 5, if necessary, will be at AmFam Saturday, October 11th. Delaney, are you a big fan of some October baseball, some postseason baseball?
I am.
Yeah, there's nothing better. Truly, there's nothing better. I texted my brother this morning. We're both big Chicago Cubs fans. I apologize in advance. And I said, I'm nervous. Like, these games, they make me so nervous. Like, I remember getting to be at Wrigley for Game 6 of the NLCS, which is when they clinched going to the World Series. I don't know if I enjoyed it. Like, my stomach was in knots riding the L to Wrigley because I was just like, I don't want my team to lose.
No, but it's so exciting. The energy is always great.
It is. It's truly electric. Hopefully people, if they wanted to go to AmFam, they got their tickets. I know when they went on sale, they pretty much sold out immediately. They had some standing room only tickets, but I'm sure by now those are also gone, Delaney, because people are excited to cheer on the Brew Crew.
I know. People are ready for the postseason.
They are. They're hoping the Brewers take home their first World Series. I'm hoping the Cubs take their fourth, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll keep following that. Of course, we're just glad to see a smoke-free shot of AmFam today. Yesterday, if you were here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, we found a nearby fire, but today everything's looking pretty good there. All right, you guys, I think I'm going to send you back to D.C. We're going to listen in. If you remember, this is the Friendly Competition in America's Skies Senate Subcommission hearing that was going on. We were hearing from the CEOs of Allegiant and Frontier, kind of talking about why it's so good to have so many airlines out there and how it can benefit you, the flyer. So we're going to listen in on this, and then on the flip side, you're going to have Ben Handelman. It's been a blast hanging out this last hour, and here comes another hour on the newly expanded Wisconsin Live Desk.
Why is this good business practice?
Unbundling enables us to offer low fares. And the lower fares, many people could not afford to fly if they didn't have the lower fare option. But in order for the system to work, everyone has to be treated fairly. And when people then, a small percentage.
Wait a minute. Why are you paying your agents? This is going to be the only business in the world I have heard of that pays your people to harass your own customers. These are customers who have purchased a ticket. They have a carry-on bag, and you're paying your people at the gate to stop them and say, your bag is not quite right. It doesn't fit in this. We heard testimony. The Permanent Select Committee in this Senate has done a thorough investigation of this. We heard testimony from numerous of your customers saying they were wrongly stopped and harassed. There's no appeals process. There's nothing. You're making gobs of money on it. You generated $40 million in fees on this, according to your own data. That's amazing. And you're still doing it. I mean, in what world is this defensible?
It's fair.
It's fair to whom?
Well, you continue to insinuate that they paid for their bag, and they did not pay
They
for their bag.
paid for a ticket that allows them to have a carry-on bag, and you're paying your agents to harass them to stop them from carrying it on. You know, only other airline I know of, Spirit, was doing this, and they stopped because they said it was a terrible experience for the customers. Your customers hate it. This is one of the reasons they hate to fly. I can't believe you're still doing it. How much money have you made on it this year so far?
Considerably less, if you'll let me speak. What we did is we introduced the New Frontier. We have very simple branded choices, complete transparency.
Wait a minute. How much, first of all, you're not a victim here, Mr. Biffle, okay? You are making billions of dollars, and you're treating your customers appallingly badly. And the fact that you are still paying your employees to harass your own customers, I think, frankly, is unconscionable. I said this 9 months ago. I thought for sure it would have stopped by now, but I can't believe you're still doing it. So I don't feel sorry for you one little bit. In fact, I think you should apologize right now to all of your customers for what you're doing to them. And I think you should turn around and give them back the money that you've taken by forcing them to surrender their bags and pay extra fees after they've already paid a price. I mean, I don't get it. You seem to be totally baffled by this. You think that this is just fine.
I'm not baffled. I think you're insinuating that they paid for a bag that they didn't pay for.
No, I'm insinuating. I'm not insinuating anything. I'm accusing you, actually, of doing something that I think is wrong, of incentivizing your own employees to treat your customers badly. And the money you're making on it is astounding, just astounding. $40 million in fees. 62% of your revenues come from these ancillary fees, of which these additional baggage fees are part of it. And you just seem to see nothing wrong with this. I mean, do you not understand this is why people hate to fly? They hate that they are treated terribly when they go to the airport by airlines, and you're paying your own people to do it. Do you want to say anything to your customers or to the flying public?
I think we've made huge progress in this area this year. We have introduced, as I started to say, we've introduced an economy product. That product is for $20 to $30, gives you free change fees, free seat assignment, carry-on bag. The persons that you're discussing are the people who bought a basic product, not that product, and they didn't pay for it.
Will you commit to quit giving incentives to your employees to stop customers and take their bags away? Will you stop that? Your other airlines have done it, your competitor airlines, your peer airlines. Will you commit here today to stop paying your employees to harass customers?
Can I ask a question?
So, I'd like an answer to mine first.
We will look at that, but I don't.
That doesn't sound like a yes or a no. Can you just say, yes, we will stop paying our gate agents to harass our own customers over their bags?
We are not harassing customers.
Yes, you are, and I invite you to read the report by the Permanent Select Committee of this body that investigated this and took testimony from your customers. Indeed, we took testimony from your own executives on this. This is a reality. Or alternatively, you could go out to DCA here and go and ask some of your customers how they feel about it. I know what they'll tell you.
Ben Handelman here from the Wisconsin Live Desk. Man, this is spicy, but hey, I do want to show you something real quick. No, it's not lunchtime here on the Live Desk. The Bucks are about to have a press conference. That's Peter Fagan. And so we're going to get back to Josh Hawley, who's grilling the CEO of Frontier. But the Bucks have a press conference, and I want to hear what they're about to say. So why don't we go there? Here, you're watching the Wisconsin Live Desk, exclusively on Fox Local. Again, this is the Bucks.
You want to put it up here? Here you go. Just put it right there.
So the Bucks, we know, are going to kind of talk about a new VIP lounge that they are developing right now.
Great. Well, thank you all for coming. Good afternoon. I'm Peter Fagan, the president of the Milwaukee Bucks and Fiserv Forum. Today, we extend an excited welcome to you to preview our newest area, our premium club, The Reserve. Welcome. In creating this beautiful space, which you are just seeing the embryonic finishing starting right now, we want to provide our courtside season ticket holders with even more exclusive experience at a Bucks games this season. This is the next evolution of professional sports, and premium experience that will be discovered here at Fiserv Forum. We're working with Wisconsin-based J.P. Cullen as well as Kaler Slater on the architecture. We couldn't be happier with the design, with the critical path, with what this will actually create. This is a first-class design and going to be very, very exciting. The Reserve also will be about its dining experience, being curated by our own renowned executive chef, Justin Carlisle, who happens to be here, who continues to have an exceptional culinary career in our city. The menu will feature rotating selections of delicious, elevated offerings throughout the Bucs season. This will be a one-of-a-kind experience that will really be fun to curate. This premium space also provides the exclusive back-of-house access and a premier parking location adjacent to Fiserv Forum with a short, easy walk to the seats. This is the way to experience a game. The Reserve will bring an unprecedented high-end experience to Milwaukee, where we're hotly anticipating the grand opening on October 22nd, our home opener against the Washington Wizards for this Bucs season. I now want to introduce our general contractors, our partners, and our builders, Sean Cullen from J.P. Cullen Construction.
Good afternoon. My name is Sean Cullen, fifth-generation shareholder of J.P. Cullen. This moment and this project is especially great for me and my family, because my grandfather, JP, through his brother-in-law, Jim Fitzgerald, were part of the ownership of the Milwaukee Bucks in the 70s and 80s. That legacy has continued through construction of Fiserv Forum, of the Science Center, their practice facility, a number of other projects, including the Reserve. This project just continues to show how the Milwaukee Bucks have been focused on the experience of the fan and continuing to elevate that. And with that, I want to introduce Amber McCracken with Kaler Slater. Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. I'm Amber McCracken. I'm a design leader with Kaler Slater. I'm here representing the firm today. Joe Goodrow, my colleague, is here as well, and I wanted to acknowledge the rest of the team, Sarah Treidel and Alec Jennings. Kaler Slater is a national design firm with deep Milwaukee roots. We've been around since 1908. Like J.P. Cullen and the Bucks, we've been a part of this community for a really long time, and we're excited to bring our legacy to this project. From the moment Peter shared his vision with our team, we knew that this was a perfect fit. It was clear that this was more than just an experience. It was unlike anything else in the Midwest. Our challenge was to create the most exclusive sports and fine dining destination in the region, and we were all in. At Kaler Slater, we take a holistic approach to design, ensuring every detail contributes to a seamless, elevated experience, and we've brought that to life. Hopefully you see that take shape in the next coming weeks. It's a true sprint to the end of construction. The guests of the Reserve are going to feel really special. This is a very elevated space where we're hoping that members and guests feel very connected to the game and create many memories here. From the moment you arrive, you know you're going to be somewhere different and extraordinary. Woven throughout the design are subtle yet powerful nods to the Bucks DNA. Their signature colors and energy are going to be reflected in the materials, the finishes, and the overall palette. It's a space that celebrates the team, the city of Milwaukee, and a spirit of excellence. We're honored to be a part of this journey, and we can't wait for everyone to experience what we've created together. With that, I'd like to introduce the executive chef, Justin Carlisle.
Thank you guys very much. First of all, I wanted to thank everybody for letting me be a part of this project. Whether or not I've had restaurants in the communities for over a decade now. As transitions in life, we've kind of grown off of restaurants and then moving on into different parts of maybe the culinary world. For me, this is extremely special. It really isn't like this that I know of in the United States in the arena area. And so when Pete and the executives here came to me and discussed it, I was very much excited to do this. We're going to be offering, menu-wise for sure, rotating seasonal or regionally. We're going to sponsor a lot of things that are going to come within the region and is more known here. But as we go, we want to obviously make different theme nights, make different nights that are a part of the teams that we're playing and the cities that we're playing to, and kind of equate those different experiences on both sides. It's going to be a very exclusive experience here. There is no other in the city. There's going to be no other within the arena that's going to be able to dine in this sort of facility. They'll come in and obviously have pregame setting here throughout the game, the food situations and the food stations, and a lot of the service styles and a lot of the offerings will change throughout the game, so that there's not just one kind of set menu, one kind of set thing per game, per day. Moving on with that, I want to thank everybody for all of those, and then any questions or anything that Peter has? Yeah. Sure. I mean, every menu for the games are going to be different. So traditionally wise, we're going to definitely have snacks to start out with. We're going to have different areas that will have seafood towers and plateaus. We're going to have different salad selections along with personal salads. A lot of dietary restrictions will be taken care of personally. We're going to have large format items in a carving station along with small format items that are going to be personally plated. We'll definitely, depending on the game, have maybe chef table style, larger format style, and then we'll be moving into a la carte styles also throughout the game. It's not going to stay set for every game, and it's not going to stay a traditional style for every game. To start off with, there is not one particular item yet, because obviously we're going to do throughout the season. If it's October and November, there's going to be different menus. If we're playing the Wizards and we're playing Boston, it's going to be different menus along with that also. For more of the elevated style, yes. We want to start out and make sure that it's the simplicity of Ardent and things that we had at Ardent, and that sort of style we want to keep, and more the philosophy of it. But then be able to start at elegant and simplistic and more, contraceptive of that as we grow up and as we kind of evolve throughout the year and then throughout the years.
Ben Handelman from the Wisconsin Live Desk. I don't know what happened to our audio. They shut the, all the photographers that are down there, they plug into something called a Mott box, and it gives us, that real clean audio. And I think now that they've moved and taken that microphone away, we don't have the audio anymore. But we're watching here. So this is Fiserv Forum, the Milwaukee Bucks. They're unveiling something that they are calling the Reserve. And interesting enough, this is going to be, high end. We're talking fine dining. On the left, that's Justin Carlisle there. He used to own a restaurant called Ardent in Milwaukee, one of the first James Beard Award winners locally. That's Peter Fagan on the right. He's one of the Bucks executives. That's Bango in the middle. I have no idea what kind of dietary restrictions Bango has. So this is a kind of place that I have a feeling I will never step foot inside a Fiserv because of all the words they were using. Fine dining, high end. I cannot afford the Bucks games as it is, and this is going to be for the cream of the crop, your VIPs, your CEOs, people who have lots of money, which is not typically me, but if anyone out there maybe wants to give me a gift card, I'll go spend some money here at the Reserve. So they're doing the construction. If you're like, wow, this is the Reserve, it looks like a construction site. Well, this is a construction site. They're going to apparently have this all done by the home opener coming up in less than a month. So, they're really in go time here. And we could hear Justin Carlisle, the executive chef of this project, saying, this is going to be fancy, fancy food. When you used to go in the Ardent, it was a tasting menu. So I don't know if they've got, this is a Bucks game, so I don't know if you'll have a tasting menu. But you'd sit at Arden for like 3 hours. It'd be like your whole night. I have a feeling it's a little different concept here, but we're getting a sneak peek as they're getting ready. So if you are a VIP, maybe you got those courtside tickets, this is where you'll hang out. They call it back of house it's a premium club. Delaney put the graphic here, and she described it perfectly. Premium club for you high rollers out there. Ooh, look at the tiling. Fancy. Good photojournalism work out there. As you can see, I'm not sure. Yeah, these are different reporters from different stations. So it's not so exciting to look. I mean, there's the bar. And you could see, I bet there's some like fancy marble or something underneath because they got it all bubble wrapped and they don't want it all scratched up. So anyway, we're getting closer and closer. Here we go to the Bucks season. Again, less than a month away. They've put some wine out. Wouldn't it be great if somebody just walked up and like took a big bite of that steak? Is that a steak? I think that's a steak. Was that the piece of fish? Is this like a surf and turf? Yeah, I don't know how long it's been sitting out like that, so maybe I wouldn't eat it. But anyway, if you've got lots of money and you love the Bucks, or maybe you just like to spend lots of money and blow it on things that like this. This is the new VIP lounge. Ooh, is that brass to put your feet on? I like they put these at the bars so you don't like kick it and scratch it. So again, VIP area that I think I will spend very little time at, but if this fits your fancy, there you go. Interesting, down there at Fiserv Forum. All right, coming up, we're trying to get with the Milwaukee Admirals, speaking of sports, because they're in town today. Finally, the whole team was down in Nashville. That's where the Predators, the NHL team, is. They've made their cuts, and now the people who didn't make the NHL team, they're here with the AHL team, the minor league team. The Admirals are back in town. We're trying to get either a player or an official from the Admirals to join us here. At 3 o'clock, we're going to talk local radio, and things have been pretty bonkers in Washington. It's all happening right in here on the live desk. So, hey, we're making history today. It's an extended hour of the Wisconsin Live Desk. We've never been on at this time on a Tuesday, but we're on right now, and there's a lot going on. So stay with us. We'll be back in 2.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
What up, news nerds? We're making history here on the Wisconsin Live Desk because for the first time ever, this is an expanded Wisconsin Live Desk. This is the show where it's got to be live. Like, we're not going to show you anything edited here, and we're going to bring you all over the place. We just saw fireworks in Washington. We just took you to Fiserv Ford to see a VIP section that I don't think I will ever be in because I don't think I can afford it, but it looks fancy. And that's a perfect transition to who we've got now because, believe it or not, the Milwaukee Admirals are back in town as their training camp has just gotten underway. And I want to bring in one of the players, a guy who, one of the feistiest defensemen I think this city has ever seen. It is Kevin Gravel from the Milwaukee Admirals. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
When did you get back to town? It still blows my mind that it is hockey season right now.
Yeah, it's a quick turnaround. No, we all got back yesterday from Nashville. Personally, I came to Milwaukee beginning of the month, beginning of September, kind of got settled here. And then we went out to Nashville for camp down there. Then we kind of all made our way back yesterday, and day one's today here, so we can kick things off here today.
Well, it's hockey season. That means, what year is this for you that you've been on the team now?
This is my 4th year in Milwaukee.
Wow.
12th overall, fourth in Milwaukee here. So found a little home here, which has been great.
To say that you're an ice hockey veteran is an understatement. I mean, you've played on several teams, but this is the team that you've been with the longest in the Nashville Predators organization, correct?
Yeah, I think my first, when I was drafted by Los Angeles, I think I was there for 4 years also, I think, up and down with LA, and then kind of bounced around for my whole career until landing here in Nashville, Milwaukee. So it's been great for myself and my family. We love it here. I grew up just up the road in Iron Mountain, Kingsford, Michigan. So about 3.5 hours. So close to home, close to family. We live in Minneapolis in the summer, so also not too far of a drive.
Yeah,
so,
you're a Midwest guy, so you have to live here close to Milwaukee. Yeah, I know you're a Youper. I know you grew up in the UP where you could probably throw a rock at Wisconsin, and we claim the UP. I mean, it's got more Wisconsin qualities, we feel anyway, than the other side of the lake. So, I feel like, if you can walk to Wisconsin, it should be part of our state is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I grew up, so Kingsford is where I'm from, and it's probably, it is just across the Menominee River there, so like legitimately a minute from my house, my parents' house growing up. So a lot of Packer fans there, more Packer fans than Lions fans. Everyone, always ask me like, "How you a Lions fan? Are you a Tigers fan? You go to Detroit?" And it's like, no, it's Detroit's. It might as well be on a different planet compared to where we grew up. So. Spent a lot of time, growing up playing hockey, playing baseball throughout the state of Wisconsin and all that. So it's just awesome to be close to home.
Well, it's great to have you back for another season here. We've been so close here in Milwaukee to the Calder Cup, winning the championship. Every year you guys have made, the last couple seasons have been incredible with the runs that you guys have made. Now, I know the team is just forming. I mean, some of these guys, we've all arrived in Milwaukee. It's a new group. But who are the Milwaukee Admirals this year? What are you seeing out there? And I know that you guys have just gotten into town.
Yeah, I think, we'll be a little bit younger this year. We have a couple of returners. The funny thing about the American Hockey League is just how much changeover there is from year to year. Guys stick with the big club or guys move different organizations, whatever it is. So there's always a decent amount of turnover, more in the AHL than the NHL. So we'll be a little bit younger, but I think we're going to be a team that's highly skilled, plays fast. I don't think our style of play will be much different than what you saw in the years past here. Milwaukee always seems to have good teams, and I'm hoping this year is no different. It's a long year and it's a grind, but that's what makes it fun. So I'm looking forward to getting things started here. It was good to get back, get familiar, get into our rink today, and kind of get things going and get things kicked off. So, I know everyone's going to be working hard here and make sure we're ready to go for the first game coming up here.
AHL fans are a different breed, and Milwaukee Admirals fans are some of the craziest fans in our city, even with all the other professional sports teams that we have here. But, I mean, you've played for other organizations. You've been all around the country. You've played in Canada. What makes Milwaukee a special place to play as a player?
I just think it's such a great sports city. There's a big group of just diehard Admiral fans, and they're at every game. And we know that, we notice that. So it's just a really fun city to be a part of. You can see it around all sports. Like the Brewers are going now. There's a buzz around the city for the Brewers. When the Bucks are going, and the Bucks are always a good team. It's fun to kind of follow those guys, the buzz in the city for those guys. And We try to do the same thing on our end. We know we're always going to get good support, and we're going to always have a lot of energy in the building from our crowd. And it's on us to work hard and win games for those guys and to perform in front of those guys. Because I know everyone on our team loves playing in this building, loves playing in this city. So we do whatever we can to win for those guys.
I got to ask you, because I believe, do you have 2 kids now? I mean, I'm a dad with a 5-year-old, and I know just with school back in session, like I'm not getting any sleep. And you've got to be a professional hockey player, and you've got a very young one at home, correct?
Yeah, I got a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old. So
you're in the thick of it.
Yeah, we're in the thick of it right now. But that's it was kind of, I was in Nashville for the last couple of weeks, and that was kind of my break there, because my wife stayed in Milwaukee here with him, so she was kind of all hands on deck, kind of surviving by herself. So yeah, it's a lot. And you know what, to be honest with you, it's she does so much, kind of holding things together and holding down the fort, because we're gone a lot. It's starting now, like being gone 2 weeks straight, and then now the season's about to start, road trips, at the rink, all that. So she has to do a lot behind the scenes, a lot more than I do. So I'm very thankful that she's there, and for all the things that she does to let me kind of chase my dream here and play hockey.
She gets all the credit then. Yeah, we're all happy to see you back in town, but I bet no one is more excited of you walking through the door than your wife, who's been with a 2-year-old.
And walk in and the kids are just held out like this when you walk through the door.
Your turn. Kevin, your battle with Crohn's disease has been well documented. You've been a great advocate for it. I had a roommate in college who had Crohn's disease, and I know it does affect everybody a little bit differently, but the thought of someone playing professional hockey with that is just mind-blowing, what you've overcome. You are an easy guy to root for because of where you've been, what you've overcome, and now you're back here playing professional hockey at some of the highest levels. How does it still affect you today? And how have you used it to be an advocate for others who think of, man, this is cutting so many opportunities off for me? Well, not necessarily.
Yeah. It can be tough at times, to be honest. Like sometimes it gets hard. And I've had a few flare-ups throughout my career where it's put me back in the hospital, and you kind of start from square one where you're trying to figure out, whether it's a new medication or, how to kind of stop the inflammation or whatever's going on. So it can be frustrating. I know there's been times where, you work yourself all the way back and finally feel like you got your feet back under you and it hits you again and you're kind of back to square one. So it can be difficult, but I think now I've got it kind of under, like, fortunately the last few years it's been under control. The medicine seems to be doing what it's supposed to be doing. So hopefully that continues to go. That can be kind of a touch and go thing too at times. So, but yeah, again, I kind of got to point back to my wife on that one. Like, we fortunately didn't have kids when it was at its worst, which would have made it a little bit more difficult. Right. But yeah, you just kind of got to, do what you can. Some days are harder than others. You got to be very open with your doctors. I know it's kind of a touchy subject because of what some of the symptoms are, and it can be kind of difficult to talk about. And but it is important that you are open with it, because there's no other way they can help you. They need to know what's going on. And I've learned over the years is just, you gotta watch your diet. You gotta, most important thing is you gotta get your rest. You gotta, keep your stress down, which that can be hard in a professional sport. Sometimes there's late nights or stressful games, stressful times of the year, stressful at home, whatever it is, so you just kind of got to manage it as best you can, and just be open. And when you see something, you got to try to stay on top of it right away so it doesn't snowball.
Well, your journey has been so inspirational because, other people may have that and say, well, I can't do this or I can't do that. Maybe this is a hockey player mentality that you've just taken it one day at a time. And it's like, how do I get back to the ice? But here you are, again, another professional hockey season. Have you guys named the captains yet? Are you a captain on this team?
Yeah, so we haven't officially named them. I have been the last 2 years, so I think that kind of stays.
Yeah, I don't think they take that away from you.
As long as they'll have me here, hopefully, as far as I know. But no, it's not just me. Like I said, we've had such great teams on this team, or such great guys on this team. It's always been by committee. Even when I first got here, the culture's kind of already been set. Mm-hmm. So my job's very easy. We have a great group of guys. Great group of returners that kind of know how we do things here. So we all kind of lean on each other, do it by committee, and just try to show up every day and just kind of put one foot forward and keep going.
Well, we're so excited for the Milwaukee Admirals season. We hope to see you up in Nashville a couple times this year as well. I know you're working towards that. I know everybody on the ice is. But wow, what a time to be alive that the Milwaukee Admirals are back here in Milwaukee. Kevin Gravel, thanks for joining us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll talk again throughout the season. Appreciate it there.
Definitely.
What a story he's got. I mean, incredible hockey player. And there were a couple times in his career he didn't think he was going to be still playing hockey. But again, here he is. He played, again, he's been with the Predators on the ice multiple times. And hopefully that happens again this year. But in the meantime, we're happy to have him here in Milwaukee. All right, stay with us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. Coming up next, we're going to talk about a radio station that's seeing its final days that I've been really, really depressed about. But someone from 102.1 will join us to talk about that. That's coming up here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
All right, news nerds, welcome back to the Wisconsin Live Desk. It is, what time is it? 3:04 in the afternoon. We're making history because for the first time ever, we've extended this show. You guys have been tuning in to all of our digital content so much that they've decided, let's do another hour of it. And let's throw Ben Handelman in a tiny room with a bunch of buttons and see what comes up. So, yeah, we've been all over the place today. The Bucks just held a press conference. There's fireworks going on in Washington. I'm seeing the president taking pictures with somebody in the Oval Office. We'll get to that in a second because obviously we've been talking government shutdown as well. Speaking of shutdown, have you ever cried while listening to the radio? Because it pretty much happened to me when this happened. Okay, we don't have the audio here. But that's Michelle Rutkowski, and about a month ago, she went into the booth and broke my heart, and a lot of people in Milwaukee, as it's an end of an era here in Milwaukee, as FM 102.1 WLUM announces the station has been sold. The format is going to change, and honestly, a bunch of people who like the kind of music that I like don't know how to deal with this. So, joining us right now here on the Wisconsin Live Desk, it's Michelle Rutkowski from FM 102.1. Thank you so much for joining us on what are very, very difficult days, but I'm happy to see you smiling. As here we go, catch us up to speed. The radio station's been sold.
Correct. So we got sold to EMF, which is for Educational Media Foundation. I believe that's what it stands for. And basically, they put on K-Love country stations all over the country. So they bought up these stations, and they will turn both frequencies into their Christian rock formats, and none of the current staffers will remain on. So.
I've got to say, over the last few weeks here, I think that announcement that you made on the air was about a month ago. This has been some of the best radio I've ever listened to in my entire life. It has been wild. I mean, I've lived in places where there have been changes, format changes, and everyone gets laid off. The radio industry is so difficult. I've never seen anything like this where you guys are getting to say farewell. And there's something really interesting. You have been with this radio station since the very first day?
Yes. My first day here was my first day on the air, and that was the first day of FM 102.1. So that was July 11th, 2006.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
It's been insane. And I will say this, part of the reason why I think you're seeing me smiling right now is because I got the sads out, right? That video of me crying, I've seen that enough to be grossed out already. I can't see myself crying anymore. So I made it a point, to make this a celebration, because we did get a chance to say goodbye. Now, in terms of the sale, we don't know when that's going to be approved. That's all pending FCC approval. So we don't have a specific last day. But it was important to me to make sure that we got all of our goodbyes in, so that they didn't just pull the plug and, we didn't get a chance to do it. So the fun programming ends today. And then after today, the station will go into autopilot until the sale goes through.
I heard you say it on the radio just as I was on the way in here. I mean, what makes the radio station is the people, and the people won't be there after today. But what great people. I mean, Brian Cramp, who works here at Fox 6, is an alum, but what great people this radio station has. And I don't know if I'm just an idiot, but I didn't realize what your call letters meant until, you're FM 102.1, so we don't always talk about the call letters, but I didn't realize what the call letters meant until this last month. But this is a rare breed, what this radio station was, a locally owned radio station. We don't have a lot of those left.
No, not in Milwaukee, certainly, and not across the country, so we were a little bit of a unicorn. And the people here, the people that are in the building right now, but have been in the last year, we've been through a lot, and they're really good people. But even if you go through the hardships, we've all really kind of rallied around one another and celebrated. Again, we've been living the dream. We've had incredible experiences, things that I can never express enough gratitude for. So we're trying to look at it that way on the way out, and just being really grateful and, leave the bitterness behind. We did great things while we were here with the time that we did have.
It is incredible. I mean, the snow shows, the kind of bands, if you could just name a few that hit our airwaves before really they got big anywhere else. And they
LUM was the first station in the country to play Noah Kahan. We were the first station in the country to play Imagine Dragons. We were the first, there's so many artists that have come through that we've been, privileged enough to work with, and having those relationships really helps for Big Snow Show. We've had headliners like the Lumineers, we've had headliners like the Black Keys, Paramore, Kings of Leon. So Fall Out Boy, the 1975. I could keep going on. We've been doing it for 19 years. So I often have to stop myself from sharing so many memories, because there's just so many good things to say.
Yeah, when you guys got the 1975 and they were in, I was like, that is crazy. And then they got bonkers big. Like, of course they did, because that's what happened.
Yeah.
So right after that, we're selling out arenas. And here we are. But I don't think everybody's grasped what's about to be missing when this radio station is gone, because it's more than just we're putting tunes on the air. You have a real connection with the bands that we have. All these great venues here in Milwaukee. This is going to have a big effect on who comes to town and who gets promotioned.
Yeah, for sure. And, even if the bands, have routed through Milwaukee, it's really hard to sell tickets without a hype man, right? Without a station that's pushing the music forward and exposing the band and talking about the show a lot. And so I think that's really helpful. But I'm confident that at least the music scene here in Milwaukee is strong enough. I think there's going to be a lot of interesting things to come out of this, right? I don't think alternative music is going away, right? The passion is still there. The audience is still there. So it's going to morph into something else for Milwaukee. And I feel like very excited to see what that yields next for this city, because the void, again, from just the music standpoint and the community standpoint of the station, it's not something that can be just plug and play into something else. It's the weirdness, the authenticness, that's what makes the station. And it's an insane thing to see this happening, and but also still kind of be interested to see what comes out of it next.
Where do you think the state of local radio goes? We're all trying to figure this out together. I mean, I'm sitting in a room right now with a bunch of buttons in front of me because digital is king now. Everybody hasn't left planet Earth. They're all just stuck on their phones, and we're all viewing media differently. We're all listening to our media differently. We're getting our news differently. So where do you think we go from here? It is kind of wild. You go to Summerfest now and you see people who got big on TikTok. Like, that was their path to getting on a stage at Summerfest. As I'm looking through, I'm like, I've never heard of this person. Oh, they were on TikTok, and now they're up on Summerfest stage.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, that's your one in a million shots, right? A lot of TikTok artists, they have a big song, but can they actually sell tickets to a show that big? Maybe not, So there is a lot of influence from social media, but I think that helps because it lets us know what our audience is really looking for, and then we can deliver that. We can see, oh, hey, this artist is selling a lot of tickets, or it's streaming, its songs are streaming, and then that's how we're able to determine, hey, these are the songs that we think fit our personality, but will also be, embraced by Milwaukee. So I think, there's a lot of things that the station, like you said, it was a community. It was not just a radio station. And so those are the things I'm really proud of that people say. Radio has local radio. It is in a tough spot. Local independent broadcasters like ourselves, the overhead is incredible in terms of running a radio station. If you start an internet radio station, you just buy your domain name from GoDaddy for $9.99 and you're set. But here, there's a lot of costs associated for local broadcasters that some of the corporate stations don't have to deal with because they have somebody, in a C-suite office in New York covering those bills. We don't. We had to cover them ourselves. And so, I think that's a big part of it. The movement into digital, I mean, a lot of stations have, but maybe not as well and as quickly as a lot of outlets have. But I still believe in radio, local broadcast radio, because I've seen it with my own eyes. I've seen who shows up at our events. I've seen who has come out the last few weeks to drop off snacks and letters and just trying to make sure the staff is taken care of. That doesn't happen by people not listening to the radio, right? That comes from making a true connection with your local audience, which we've been fortunate enough to do for 19 years. We never had syndicated programming on this radio station. It is all local people who live here, who can say Kinnikinnick, and Economawalk and all of those things, so it's part of what makes the station so special.
I feel like you can feel it, and I know this is coming from a local news anchor, but when someone's delivering a message and they're not in your town, you know it. I mean, it's pretty glaring and it's obvious, and it doesn't. You don't have the same connection. You're not going to run into these people in the grocery store, or they just don't understand. Milwaukee is a very quirky place that is not understood by people who do not live in the Midwest. I mean, you don't get this town unless you are from here and live here.
Exactly. Or live here. I've lived here for 19 years. So I was at the first mention of spotted cow, I didn't get it, and I got yelled at because I thought it was like a root beer float. So I obviously have learned my lesson over the last 19 years. But yeah, we tried to never take ourselves too seriously, and we tried to have fun. And I'm very proud of the work, and I think to have this response that we've gotten over the last several weeks, not just from listeners, but from partners, the rave, we've done so many things with Joe and Leslie over the years, my heart breaks a little bit to not be able to work with those partners anymore. But everyone has just come forward through such support. And again, that proves to me that what we did had an impact. And if another broadcaster can come in and take this space, I think that it will win. It will take off because there's no other outlet for that type of music here. But they'll just have to get weird. That's what Milwaukee is, quirky, and Milwaukee likes weird, and Milwaukee likes to sort of laugh at themselves and not take themselves too seriously. And I think that's the approach we took with the music. That's sort of this counterculture attitude. It just blended together into something really special.
I think you got the weirdest at the most serious part where everyone's like, yeah, we're all losing our jobs. And I'm getting it. The radio I've been listening to the last couple of weeks is the best radio I've ever heard in my life with what you guys have been doing. You are keeping the theme all the way till the end of not taking yourself seriously, because I have been laughing in my car and being like, I can't believe they're going this route with some of the things they're talking about of something that is really serious and is going to impact everyone who works at the station.
Yeah, and listen, the self-deprecation is a foundational tenet of this radio station. But, again, it came from, it was a gut punch, and we were all just heartbroken at the news, but it's not fully in our nature to just sit there and be very serious and sad. It wasn't. We had the moment, we had the serious and sad moment, and I looked over at our social media guy, Brady, and I said, do it. He goes, what? I go, Halloween spirit sign. He goes, too soon? I go, yeah, that's why it's great. That's why we're going to do it. And then obviously there was a Titanic meme in there as well, because, gallows humor. If you don't laugh, you cry.
Well, and radio humor, too, to make an impact on your viewers in the short amount of time that you guys have to do that in between songs sometimes. You've done it probably better than anyone, one of the best stations in the country. And that's why I didn't know I would get so emotional losing something that, radio is an interesting thing. You listen to it for a few minutes in your car, and you don't realize how big of a part of your day it is. But it really is. It's something that, whatever your favorite radio station is, it's part of your daily routine.
Yeah. And for 19 years, we reached 300,000 people a week, and we were part of their day. And I think the outpouring that we're seeing is people having the same realization you're having, which is, oh my gosh, this just isn't going to exist. This thing that I've had access to for forever is just going to be evaporated into thin air. And I think people are starting to get that now, too.
Last question here. I know you're married to the Bucks beat writer, so
I am.
You could skip town, and maybe he could, if you go to a different town, he could visit you in that NBA city or something. But what is your future? Where are you heading next?
So I have some irons in the fire, thankfully, because if I didn't, I'd be like, oh my God, no one's calling. I don't know what's next for me. I don't know if it's radio. I don't know if it's music. I don't know, I want to take a break. I want to take a nap because, as you said, this month of programming has been pretty intense. It's been a labor of love, and I've loved doing it, and it's been therapy, but I need a nap. So we'll see. Jim and I, as some people know, when he was a beat writer for the Cincinnati Bengals, for the Cincinnati Enquirer, we lived apart and we did a commuter marriage for 4 years.
Wow.
And that was really fun. And I was a lot younger when we did that. And I don't intend to do that. I'd like to stay in the Midwest for sure, in this region. So.
Well, I guess at the end of this conversation, all I want to say is thank you for what you created over the last 19 years and for making me mostly laugh, except the last month here. I was like, I cannot believe it. So, Well, we lost our audio. If you can't hear me now, we'll have to say goodbye. Michelle, thank you. Appreciate it. If you can't hear me, we'll say goodbye this way. Can we go that way? Oh, we've lost Michelle. But that was right at the end of the interview, so that's it. Kind of.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
wow, Michelle does incredible. Obviously, that radio station, there was nothing like it in Milwaukee. And again, she said, you heard they've got to get the FCC's got to sign off on the sale, so the radio station will still exist. But all of the personalities that we have come to know and love, for many of them, this is the last day or their last week. So that is a big change here in Milwaukee that we'll have to ingest here. All right, stay with us here on the Wisconsin Live Desk. I've got some new feeds that have popped up. We'll be back in a couple of minutes here.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Well, we're making history today because never on a Tuesday from 2:30 to 3:30 has the Wisconsin Live Desk happened until now. So thanks for joining us for a little Fox 6 history here on your Fox local app. It is a busy day out there. We're following what's happening in Washington. The government, it looks like it's going to shut down. I mean, they're talking, they're voting, but it doesn't look like they have reached any agreement there. We've been watching this really interesting hearing as well happening right there. That's Klobuchar from Minnesota, Senator. I mean, they're not talking shutdown. They're talking aviation. They've been grilling the CEO of Frontier at times, talking about competition in American skies and some of the fees that airlines charge. So we're watching that. But I want to take you to the White House because the president's speaking, and I want to hear what he's saying. This was cancer research, what it was billed at, but you know President Trump, he'll talk about anything.
Women's sports, they want transgender for everybody. They never stop. They don't learn. We won an election in a landslide. They just don't learn. So we have no choice. I have to do that for the country. Yes.
You mentioned a deal with Harvard, Mr. President. What is that deal? Will they be paying the administration?
Well, we're in the process of getting very close, and Linda's finishing up the final details, and they'd be paying about $500 million, and they'll be operating trade schools. They're going to be teaching people how to do AI and lots of other things, engines, lots of things. You know, we need people in trade schools. I remember when I went to school, I had some people that weren't particularly good students, but they could take a motor or an engine apart blindfolded and put it back blindfolded, but they weren't too good at other things, and many of them ended up doing better than the people that were. So trade schools are very important, and we've lost trade schools. We used to have a lot of trade schools in this country. We don't have them anymore. We have tremendous plants opening, and we want to have people at top level for those plants, whether it's AI or whether it's automotive plants. You know, we have many automobile companies open their plants in the United States. They're all coming back for two reasons: tariffs, and I think they liked November 5th. You know, they liked the person that was chosen, and they're moving in from Canada, they're moving in from Mexico, they're coming in from all over the world. China is coming. They're all coming, and that way they avoid paying tariffs. So, you know, they're
all right, the president's taking questions. I got to take a quick break here. We'll try and get back to the Oval Office in a second.
People with skill, and I think I can say.
This is the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Hey, welcome back to the Live Desk. The Fox 6 Sports Blitz is coming up in about 1 minute, but let's go back into the Oval Office just for the last few seconds here on the Wisconsin Live Desk.
Every week, because they said we have to have, I mean, why should we be paying 10 times what another country is paying? And that was just an excuse, you know, research and development. We do research and development. So now we're going to be paying whatever the lowest price is, we're going to be paying that price. So it's a great thing. But there won't be anything that can have the impact on Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, anything where you need pharmaceuticals, medicines. The numbers are going to come way down. Even Obamacare, which is terrible, it's not been good, as you know. It's a weak form of health care. But it'll be better because the medicine's going to come in at a very low price. Yes, please.
Yes, Mr. President. It seems like every time you assemble your MAHA team and your cabinet members behind here in regards to health issues, it just keeps getting powerful. And I look at these young kids there and the weight that is on the world right now that you can lift by what you're doing. I've often said Trump could cure cancer and people would still criticize him.
That's true.
And it's true. What is your message to America that this potential bring us all